their play to get the ball to him, to feet, to get in the penalty area, and also has encouraged the likes of Ahmad and Roberts and others to take more chances from outside the box.
Yeah, sometimes you can say that they try to overplay, but as you just mentioned there, we've got to have a new approach, especially around that 18-yard box, especially when you're missing the likes of Ross Stewart. And we're not the biggest side, you know, and you know that what you're going to be facing today against Millwall, especially from set pieces, we've got to make sure we defend well.
This is an interesting challenge, because when you look at the Millwall team, their centre-half, Sean Hutchinson, if he plays this afternoon, 6'1", but Jake Cooper, 6'6". Now Gelhardt is not the biggest in the world, 5'7", 5'8". He's not tall. Ahmad's not big. Roberts isn't big. They're going to have to keep it on the floor, aren't they?
They're going to try to keep it on the floor unless they can get a piggyback, and then they'll be all right. Who knows?
It's different.
No.
Tried that in training.
Again, you know, we know, especially when Ross Stewart was out of this team and Ellie Sims was out of the team, one thing which we were talking about is set pieces. You know, we can't afford to be giving away set pieces because they were causing us problems. And the last time we played Millwall at the Stadium of Light, they've got a long throw. They put the big lads up, and Millwall are one of them teams who, you know, if they don't win the first ball, they try to pick the pieces up, and that's what they'll try to do today. You know, the likes of George Hunneman and Mason Bennett, they'll be trying to feed off maybe the Bradshaws, or especially from set.
A lot of optimism on the train coming down today from the Sunderland fans we spoke to, and Davey last night on Total Sport, very, very upbeat. Davey upbeat.
Yeah.
So, you know, we were chastised for being downbeat. I don't think we were particularly downbeat. I think we were pragmatic when we approached the game here today.
Listen, the thing is, Nick, if we are chasing the game, how are we going to? That was my question.
Interesting.
You're going to look at the bench.
Well, you can change it with pace, but you can't change it with height.
That's it. So, you know, you're looking at it and you look at the bench and you're thinking, right, trying to get back into the game, and we've spoke about it before, sometimes you might have to be a little bit more direct. And then you're looking at the bench and you're thinking, well, who's going to give you that? Yes, it's okay for us to play. And again, I would imagine that Tony Mowbray will be saying, especially to the back four or even the midfield players, don't play straight footballs, because if you play straight balls, the centre halves are going to win them. They've got to go down the channel. They've got, you know, the forwards have got to spin and try to get down the side of the centre backs, because you're not going to win anything aerial.
Welcome to the channel for today's match, Millwall against Sunderland,
and the lack of a number 9
from the Lions'
we
Den.
are where we are now. There's no number 9 until at least the summer, and whether the club tries to get a number 9 in this summer. They failed to do so in 2 windows. You wouldn't hold your breath that they're going to do so again in the summer, but at least the summer gives them more time. And I think from the reaction of everybody, and even to an extent Tony Mowbray, it will be a priority, won't it, in the summer?
It's got to be a priority.
Everton won Arsenal in the Premier League game.
Nick, is that, you know,
we all knew that was a bank and certain, wasn't it? I wish I went to the bookies and put a tenner on that.
Look at, okay, maybe the under 23s or under
still about
21,
15 minutes left for that one.
Knocking on the door, somebody scoring goals at that level, and yeah, they'll talk about they haven't got the experience, but at least you might be able to throw them in, and it might give you a different option. But we haven't got anybody. You know, you look at other clubs and they might have some up-and-coming striker or somebody who can go in there. We haven't. And that's a shame, really, and that's something which we need to do. It is what it is. We've got to cope until the end of the season, and we've got to find a way of basically winning games.
Just a reminder, the one change, and it's Gelhardt for Stewart this afternoon. The bench: Bass, Barr, Sirkin, Bennett, Ekwa, Anderson and Pritchard. Millwall's team, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm told we'll get team sheets fairly soon. I mean, I don't think it'll be a huge change from the team that won 1-0 last time out at Cardiff. Zian Fleming behind Tom Bradshaw up front. There's the threat. That's the goal threat from Millwall. 17 goals between them this season.
Big tricky little game today.
Tom Bradshaw, experienced Welsh international. Zian Fleming, Dutchman, 6'1" again. You know, height. I mean, I guess from listening to our colleague from BBC London last night, what Sunderland have got to avoid really is Millwall trying the high press.
Well, they'll try to press high because, you know, it's something which we spoke about on Total Sport. You know, if they've done the homework, you know you've got to know Ross Stewart. What they'll want Sunderland to do is kick the ball long. And we know that Sunderland like to play out from the back. But if they press high, they've got no option. They've got to kick long. But then you're saying,
we've got no
who are you going to kick to? Who's going to win the ball in the air?
Oh, Jacob, how are we doing?
Millwall.
Indeed. There's a Proclaimers song, Sunshine on Leith. Well, now the sun shines on Rob Mason, Sunderland Club historian.
Hold on, we need evidence.
Enjoy your trip to Preston, okay?
Good afternoon, Rob. We got evidence last week, but then, because to put it into context, Rob sent Benno a picture of the sun bursting through the clouds in southwest Scotland. But then Benno points out that picture could have been taken any time.
1976 it had. The date was on it.
Good afternoon, Rob.
Good afternoon, Gary particularly. Gary, you'll be glad to know it's quite great and overcast here in Dumfries and Galloway today.
Oh, well, in fact, it is here too as well. You're missing nothing. I mean, the
absolutely not too
surroundings
bad.
of
Stop the boys off at the Carlisle game, and it is for a reason.
A million miles away to the surroundings at Fulham last week. To put it kindly, an inhospitable place to come. They always say the Dockers stand on the far side, the Coldblow Lane stand to our right, and the massive incinerator over the railway tracks on the far side. I'm sure you've got plenty of happy memories of the old den and the new.
I've got plenty of memories, and not necessarily happy ones, though I have seen one or two notable wins down at Millwall. But just like last week, I was thinking that Fulham was perhaps my favourite ground in London. Certainly now since Highbury's closed. I've got to say the den and the old den are two of my least favourites, though that particular honour would go to Crystal Palace's Selhurst Park as my least favourite ground in London. But yeah, it's never a hospitable place to go to. The people at the club are fine. A lot of the Millwall supporters are fine. But I think all Sunderland supporters, and I think all supporters of all clubs know that at times there's been some difficult times with Millwall fans. I remember in the 70s particularly, even before that 1976 photo I sent you last week, Gary, I remember being there on the opening day of the 74-75 season at Millwall, and shall we just say I saw, I think, the worst violence I've ever seen at a football ground on that occasion, and I would never want to see it again.
Dude, I'm told there has been some trouble already today, actually, at lunchtime in one of the pubs with Sunderland fans, but look, you know, it is what it is, isn't it, I suppose. But,
it was ridiculous in 1974, it's ridiculous now. There's 3,000 Sunderland fans travelled down to Millwall today, and I can bet you my life that the absolute vast majority of them have gone for a football match. Nothing else. They just want to go to a football match. Most of the Millwall fans will have gone there for a football match as well. And the people who want to cause trouble in football matches, as far as I'm concerned, should be kept as far away from football as possible. It's nothing to do with the game. It's ridiculous. Those people are a disgrace to the game. And, you know, they give a bad name to the vast majority of football supporters of all clubs who just want to go to the match and have a good time.
Hello, Blaine Richardson.
Indeed, as I gather, those Sunderland fans have been caught up in the trouble today of being escorted to the game now by the police. That's as serious as it is.
Every match I'll be streaming.
And as you say, there's absolutely no place for it in the game in this day and age. Hopefully, the game itself will be explosive, but in the right manner. We've been talking about the height differential because Sunderland is a very small team and there's no getting away from it now. The loss of Ross Stewart means it's even smaller across the board.
Well, of course, yes, and I think it was yourself, Nick, that I heard make a very good point on radio this week that a big part of losing Ross Stewart is his ability to defend set pieces. He's often the first head on the ball when a corner comes into our box or a free kick comes into our box. And that's something missing. And looking at Millwall, I read it, has scored 17 goals from set pieces this season. So they're a very, very dangerous side from set pieces. And yes, you know, we do lack height. I mean, Elise is back in there today. Obviously, Bart is superb in the air. Ballard is no mug in the air. But throughout the team as a whole, there is generally lack of height. And although I've picked out 3 players there, those 3 players can only basically mark 3 people, can't they? and the rest of the team, a lot of them are fairly small. Trey Hume as well is not bad in the air, to be fair to him. So there's a good amount of height in the back four, but across the team, yes, we are a small team physically, and that has its pluses as well as its minuses. Well,
we've just been in the press lounge here, and there's a little cabinet. I say little, it's not. Yeah, it is little, isn't it? There's a little cabinet at the back of the press lounge which has got Millwall's sort of historical memorabilia. Yeah, interestingly enough, at the front of it, on the floor, is a cast iron plaque in green and white from Ferenc Varos, and of course, immediately the significance of that was that could well have been in the cabinet at Sunderland, because it was that FA Cup final back in 2004 when Millwall beat Sunderland in the semi-final, and of course then Millwall went to play in the UEFA Cup, was it then? Because Man United were already in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's right. When Sunderland played Millwall at Man United's ground in the semi-final in 2004, we knew there was every chance that the winners of that semi-final would almost certainly go to Europe, because the semi-final was Manchester United. And if I remember rightly, I think they were playing Arsenal.
It's just commentary every single game.
Two teams who were nailed on to qualify for the Champions League indeed, which meant that the runners up in the FA Cup went into Europe, and yes, that became Millwall. And Millwall, if I remember, went out quite clearly. I think they might have lost 3-0 in one leg and drawn 1-1 in the other, something like that. They didn't make much of a fist of it, and yes, it was one of the opportunities that Sunderland have had in sort of, I say recent years, I mean since we came to Stadium of Light, one of the handful of times that we got close to going into Europe. Funnily enough, I just spoke to Alex Ray last night with a view to next week's programme. Alex Ray, of course, an ex-Millwall as well as Sunderland player, but Alex, as most listeners will know, is now assistant manager to Reading, who we play next week. So I was talking to Alex last night, and he was bemoaning the fact that his one disappointment at Sunderland was the 2 years we finished 7th in the Premier League under Peter Reid. In both years, we just ever so narrowly missed out on Europe, and that FA Cup game in 2004 was the other.
I like to think that the plaque in the cabinet here is morally ours. I looked at it with covetous eyes, you know.
Yeah, Millwall won in that semi-final. We were a bit lucky to do so. John Oster hit the underside of the bar early on. Had that had gone in, Sunderland probably would have gone on to win the game, but we didn't.
I was looking back over the notes of that game actually last week, and Sunderland had chance after chance in comparison to Millwall, but that was the season that Millwall had an Indian sign over Sunderland, wasn't it? I mean, Tim Cahill, Dennis Wise, Cahill especially, they won the 2 league games, they won that semi-final. It was just Millwall's season.
Yeah, that's football. Just because you're the better team doesn't necessarily mean you win the game. On that particular occasion, things went against Sunderland.
I'm surprised Riggs not even on the bench.
Got sent off later on, so
I think.
5 minutes in time. So even if we
equalised it, played the extra time
with 10 men. I remember right before came to the George McCarthy back. It was just one of those things. Sunderland have only ever played Millwall twice in the FA Cup, and both times the semi-final. The first time Sunderland won back in 1937.
Cheers for the subscription
Millwall's
Chris.
turn when we played them in 2004.
Cute.
Now, talking about memorabilia, I believe that you will be giving a talk in Sunderland next week. You mentioned it a couple of times, in passing, but there's a design exhibition, an art exhibition, football exhibition that you will be talking at.
Yeah, if people are in Sunderland, there's a very interesting exhibition, a travelling national exhibition called the Football Art Prize. That's taking place. It's in the main city centre museum at Mowbray Park. It's free admission. You can go in and see it more or less any time.
Yeah, very surprised unless keeping him for Fulham.
Like any exhibition of artwork,
could be.
Something you like and something you don't like. There's 3 of those pieces are directly related to Sunderland. And next Friday night at the museum, starting at 6:30 for a 7 o'clock start, together with Jeff Brown from the BBC. I'll be giving a talk about the beautiful game, and it will be centred around Sunderland and the contributions there, but we'll also be looking at the links between Sunderland and football and the whole world of art, not forgetting that the world's oldest and largest oil painting of a football match takes place of honour in the entrance hall of the Stadium of Light. That's the famous Thomas Hemy painting, from the 1895 game with Aston Villa.
That famous one where he didn't paint anybody's hands because he couldn't.
That's right, yeah. If you look at that painting, all but one of the players, and the one player's got his hand on the ground, he's pushing himself back up. Every player has his hands clenched in a fist, and that was because the artist mainly drew boxing matches, and he couldn't draw hands very well. I always like to tell people it's indicative of Sunderland's fighting spirit, and that was before Benno was playing.
I meant to ask, Benno, were you ever sent off here?
Yes.
Yeah, you were. It doesn't surprise me.
In the Cardiff days.
Yeah, that doesn't come as any great surprise.
Well, it wasn't my fault.
No, it never is.
It's an intimidating place to play football, never mind to support.
Indeed. I mean, from the way you'll hear from Tony Mowbray before kick-off, but the way he talks, it still is here intimidating. And we've been here before and surrounded by Millwall fans, and it has been edgy.
Well, I think
for want of a better word.
If you talk to majority of footballers, they would say, what's the most intimidating place you've played at? And I would imagine 9 out of 10 would mention Millwall.
Funnily enough, the steward in front of me has got the name Wise on the back of his big orange jacket, ironically. Rob, we'll leave it there for this week because we'll chat to you next week, which is important because I know that next weekend, ahead of the Reading game, they will be unveiling the memorial plaque to those that lost their lives on the way to matches. And there's going to be today, incidentally, there will be laying wreaths in the centre circle, then behind each goal, and there will be remembering all the Millwall fans that have died over the last year or so, but also
I was getting thrashed. I know.
Fans
some team Burnley, aren't they?
Period. Their
they
names
are
will be displayed also on the big screen in the corner here at the Den.
Yeah, that's very good. Well done to Millwall for that. And can I just say before I finish, I did, I'm not having a dig at Millwall. Millwall people at the club are very good. And don't forget that when Millwall did come to Sunderland just before Christmas, their fans were displaying a banner in honour of Bradley Lowry, just to show that the Millwall fans have got good people amongst them. All football fans have got good people amongst them, and we're not going to have our names besmirched by the idiots who just want to cause trouble.
Indeed, well said, Rob. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you next weekend. Rob Mason, Sunderland's club historian, and we'll be able to reflect in the build-up next weekend on that memorial unveiling at the Stadium of Light on Saturday morning ahead of the game against Reading. One change today, Gelhardt is in for Ross Stewart. I haven't, they're literally just handing out the team sheets, so I can now relay the Millwall team to you. George Long, Danny McNamara, Murray Wallace, Jake Cooper, Billy Mitchell, Tom Bradshaw, Zian Fleming, Charlie Cresswell, so that's one change. He's on loan from Leeds, centre-back. George Saville, Mason Bennett and George Honeyman. So it's the one change, and that's for Callum Stiles, the left-back. Charlie Cresswell is come in at centre-back. So I'm just wondering I wonder if one of those, I'll work it out at some point. But anyway, that's the team. I think it's just the one change for Millwall this afternoon. And just a reminder of Murray Wallace, as it has come in. It looks like Murray Wallace is coming, isn't he? And he'll come in at left back. So two changes. So Murray Wallace at left back, and Charlie Cresswell's come in for Sean Hutchinson by the looks of things at centre back. So that's the two changes. On the bench, Bielkowski, Ollie Burke, who's on loan from Werder Bremen, signed in the January window, Scott Malone, Jamie Shackleton, Ryan Leonard, Duncan Watmore and Andreas Vogelsammer. Sunderland, as you know, Patterson, Hume, Ballard, Bart and Elise, Neil Michu, Roberts, Ahmad, Clark and Gelhardt. And the bench is Bass, Barr, Sirkin, Bennett, Equa, Anderson and Pritchard. Remember, we've got a double bill this afternoon because following our game here at the Den at 5:30 we full commentary of Newcastle United against West Ham United, but we'll get more news of that ahead of the game. Last weekend, of course, it was the FA Cup. The FA Cup replays on Wednesday night at the Stadium of Light. One of the standout players in the game was Anthony Patterson. He's won save of the round as well, for his save late on from Willian. I spoke with him after the cup tie at Craven Cottage.
I thought we limited them to very few chances, especially in the first half. Our shape was really good, and then obviously there was occasions where we nicked the ball and looked really dangerous on the counter-attack, where we created a lot of good chances as well. Yeah.
Your reaction saves right at the death as well. I mean, to be that alert still. I mean, you've saved the game, if you like. Out to Solomon though for Fulham on the right, back to Diop. Diop curls one up to the edge of the area, looking for Mitrovic on his chest, trying to tee up a shot. Mitrovic still going, tries a shot. Oh, it's headed by Ballard at Patterson, and Patterson blocks it, and then Willian follows up, and it's tipped over by Patterson. You couldn't make it up.
Yeah, well, obviously that's my job, and yeah, I've got to stay switched on for the full 90 minutes, and I never know when I'm going to get called upon, so it's important that I do that and help the team out.
I mean, what was the feeling before the game? I mean, a lot of talk about this is a real barometer of how far this very young team has come this season. I mean, now you've held a Premier League club to a draw and a replay. I mean, what are your thoughts about the whole afternoon?
Yeah, definitely. It just shows how much talent the young lads have got that we brought in, and yeah, we're always pushing, and yeah, and as you've seen there tonight, that we can go toe-to-toe with a Premier League side, and yeah, I thought we had some really good chances to possibly even win the game. So yeah, it was really pleasing.
Look back a year and where you were, will you be thinking about that on the journey home? Just what the journey you've had over that year? Yeah,
definitely. It's been a pretty mad year thinking about it, having gone from the beginning of 2022 playing for Notts County to coming back, winning promotion with Sunderland, playing obviously, and then coming back in the summer, getting the #1 shirt, and then obviously kicking on from there, and we've started the season brilliantly, and we just need to keep pushing on now.
And on the journey home, I presume you're going back on the coach. I think you can get TV. Will you be watching Match of the Day?
Yeah, quite possibly actually, yeah. Just probably see some of our chances back as well, because I think we had some really great chances to go and win the game. And yeah.
And what are your thoughts on taking Fulham back to the Stadium of Light? You know that it's going to be rocking, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Our fans will get right behind us, and we'll give them another really good game and get after them, and like we did here tonight. And it shows anything can happen when we've got our fans behind us.
Has it actually sunk in yet, what you've actually achieved?
No, I don't think it has actually yet. It's yeah, I think it'll probably set in on the bus on the way back.
Total Sport.
On the station with Newcastle and Sunderland commentary exclusively live.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Anthony Patterson, well, I hope it'll be rocking on Wednesday night. I may have been a bit premature because ticket sales haven't been exactly the quickest in the last few days. Hopefully they pick up over the next few days. Of course, it's live on BBC One, which is not a big factor in helping people, you know, make up their minds in terms of going to the game. And if they get through that, it'll be live on BBC One again against Leeds later in the month. But fingers crossed, there is a great atmosphere on Wednesday. We will, of course, have full commentary on BBC Radio Newcastle as well. One place it is rocking this afternoon is back in the Radio Newcastle studio. It's being driven by Colin White.
Yes, it is. I've got no evidence for that, but yes, it is. You're just going to have to take my word for it and Barnes' word for it. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Gary. We will be back with those two at the Den in about 5 minutes' time, building up to that 3 o'clock kickoff, of course, between Millwall and Sunderland in the Championship. They have just finished in one of the other games in the Championship. There are two, actually, that kicked off at 12:30. Burnley, the leaders, have battered Norwich 3-0 away from home. Anas Zaroury in the first half, Vitinho and Hjalmar Ekdal in the second. So Norwich 0, Burnley 3. They are still playing between Rotherham and Sheffield United in the South Yorkshire derby. Goalless in injury time, quite deep into injury time actually in that one as well. Still playing and in injury time in the Premier League. Everton 1, Arsenal 0. James Tarkowski on the hour mark with the only goal of that game so far. Sean Dyche's first game in charge, and what a result that would be if they beat the league leaders. I suspect that by the time I finish this little roundup, those 2 games will both have finished, so I will tell you as soon as they do. There's one game in League 2 as well that kicked off early, kicked off at 12:45, just before half-time, therefore, in that one. Newport County 0, Swindon 0, but Swindon down to 10 men. Rishi and Hepburn Murphy sent off after 15 minutes. It is full-time at Goodison, and Everton have beaten Arsenal by 1-0. In non-league today, then, Gateshead in the National League are away at Solihull Moors. In fact, I'm going to interrupt myself because Rotherham Sheffield United is now a full-time as well. So 2 full-times in the Championship. Burnley win 3-0 at Norwich. Rotherham against Sheffield United finishes 0-0. And in the Premier League, Everton beat Arsenal 1-0. So yes, as I was saying, Gateshead in the National League away at Solihull Moors this afternoon. There are 2 new signings of the last 24 hours. The midfielder Harrison Clark and the striker Marcus Dinanga, both on the bench today. In National League North, Blythe Spartans are away at Leamington. In the NPL Premier Division, South Shields at home to Lancaster City and Morpeth away to Ashton United. But our featured game of the day is in the East Division of the NPL. 5th placed Dunstan at home to Long Eaton United. Our non-league reporter Paul Dixon is at the UTS Stadium this afternoon. Now, Paul, I know it is only just over halfway through the season, but
yep.
Dunstan have put together a proper playoff challenge here.
Well, they certainly have, Colin. Yes, they've gone 3 games undefeated. They're 5th in the league, and they're very much in a playoff position. I've got a chairman, Malcolm James, with the Malcolm, 3 wins up the belt, and you're lying 5th in the playoff position. Can't be much happier than that at the minute.
No, we've done very well, Paul, the last 3 games. 2 of them away from home, hard places to go to. Anywhere's a hard place to go to in this league, and we're delighted that we've managed to sort of come back a bit, find a bit of form. 3 wins up the belt. It's good going, very good.
Now, you played Long Eaton and you beat them 3-2 down there, but you've said they're a pretty good side, yes?
Played Long Eaton down there, we've won 3-2. They're a good side. They've had some good results, and they went to Stockton and they beat Stockton at Stockton, and they've played other top teams, and it'll be a hard game today. It'll not be an easy ride for Dunstan today, I can assure you of that.
Carl Finnegan, Will Jenkins and John Shaw all out injured today, so they could be a miss, Malcolm, today, could they?
That's finished Arsenal, Everton 1, Arsenal 0. That was an absolute banker. I wish I'd put a bet on it. I wish I'd put a bet on it.
He's what he is, he's a goal scorer.
That was just a banker that was going to happen.
A little bit. Will Jenkins
and it has.
Had a great season with us.
So Everton at the moment out the bottom 3.
A big miss in the middle of the park today, Will. But we've got
good news for
Paul.
Man City,
we've
that.
Got to take the opportunity. A couple of them have had a little bit of a lip on because they haven't getting a chance. But you kind of give people a chance when they're playing well, and getting good results. But the day will be the day for them, and we're hoping to welcome John Shaw back after a very serious injury. We're hoping to welcome him back next weekend. He's hoping to be back in contention for selection next weekend. So, although we've got a couple missing today, that happens to everybody. Got lads on the sidelines, hope you'll come in today and prove that they should maybe be in the side full time.
Malcolm, we wish you all the best this afternoon, and good luck for your playoff position. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, boy. He says it like it is, doesn't he, Malcolm? Good on Malcolm. Thank you to Paul Dixon as well. We will be checking in with Paul at half-time and at full-time as well. All the other 3 teams of ours in the East Division away from home this afternoon. So North Shields away at Brighouse, Hebburn away at Grantham, and Consett away at Stocksbridge Park Steels. Berwick Rangers in the Scottish Lowland League at home to Cumbernauld Colts this afternoon. And so our local football roundup, because we don't have a phone in today, because Newcastle United are playing at 5:30. We'll come on to them in just a second. But our local football roundup will be at half-time in the Newcastle game, so somewhere around 6:20. Yes, because Newcastle play West Ham at St James's Park in our second commentary of the day. It is a 5:30 kick-off, that one. Anthony Gordon could make his debut after his January move from Everton. Head coach Eddie Howe was typically coy about whether he would start the 21-year-old during his press conference yesterday, but he certainly has no fears about whether the winger can cope with the pressure.
Well, I think he's experienced that in his career. I mean, Everton, certainly from our experience of going there at the back end of last season, was a brilliant atmosphere, red hot, and he's thrived in that environment there. I think he will thrive in this environment here with the positivity and the brilliant response. I didn't hear it. I was busy doing my team talk, but that I heard about afterwards, the brilliant reception our supporters gave him, and he's going to need that after a difficult last few months for him. So for him to feel good again and a release of pressure, I think will be really, really positive for us.
Yes, that is Eddie Howe talking about Anthony Gordon. Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson will be here just after 5 o'clock. We will actually have a chat with Razor at half-time in the Sunderland game as well. There have been a couple of goals actually in League Two, so Newport County now 2-0 up on Swindon with about 15 minutes to go in that one, because when I said it was nearly half-time earlier, I was getting confused between 12:45 and 1:45, so only about 10 minutes to go. Newport County 2-0 up on Swindon in League Two. Elsewhere across the weekend, away from football, but action involving our local teams. Newcastle Eagles in the BBL basketball last night, 84-70 winners over Sheffield Sharks, and it was a terrific final quarter that saw them through, the opposite of the problems they've often had this season of falling away in the final 10 minutes. They won that final quarter by 16 points, so they were 2 down going into the final 10 minutes. But Newcastle Eagles 84-70 winners over Sheffield Sharks last night. They're away at Cheshire Phoenix at 5:30 tomorrow. In the WBBL today, Durham Palatinate at home to Oakland Wolves. That one tipped off at 1 o'clock, so they've still got about 6 minutes left in the final period, but Durham running away with it. 72-49 they lead, 23 of those points coming from Harriet Ottawell Soulsby, but they, barring a ridiculous collapse in the final 6 minutes, should take the points against Oakland Wolves this afternoon. And the Newcastle Eagles in the WBBL are in action tonight at the arena. They're at home to Manchester Met Mystics. The Rugby League season, as far as the Championship teams are concerned, gets underway this weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, Newcastle Thunder, a very new look Newcastle Thunder, away at Swinton Lions to start their season. They actually start with 5 away matches in a row, Newcastle Thunder, but they're away at Swinton tomorrow afternoon. In the ice hockey in North Division 1, Whitley Warriors, a couple of matches across the weekend. 6 o'clock today, they're away at Blackburn Hawks, and then tomorrow at Hillhead's Solihull Barons are the visitors at 5 o'clock. Rugby Union's 2023 Six Nations got underway around about 20 minutes ago, just shy of 20 minutes ago. Wales hosting Ireland, the number 1 side in the world and favourites for the tournament, and showing why they are both of those things. They lead by 14 points to 3, a couple of early tries for Ireland. And they're about to have a penalty to increase that lead as well. So 14-3 to Ireland at the moment. And then at 4:45 today at Twickenham, it is England-Scotland. Scotland arriving in possession of the Calcutta Cup. But the England captain, Owen Farrell, says he's expecting a real spectacle at Twickenham today.
We're looking forward to getting back to home. We're looking forward to being back at Twickenham. We're looking forward to playing in front of our home crowd and showing how much we're willing to fight for each other and work hard. But at the same time, we understand how much work we've got to do.
So that is Owen Farrell. 4:45 kickoff at the Calcutta Cup, and there is live commentary on BBC Radio 5 Live. And one more thing, in tennis, Great Britain go into day 2 of their Davis Cup finals qualifier level against Colombia. That was after the British number 1 Cameron Norrie beat Nicolas Barrientos in straight sets yesterday, but only after Dan Evans had suffered a shock defeat to the world number 253, Nicolas Mejia. You can watch today's action starting with the doubles that involves Dan Evans on the iPlayer and on the BBC Sport website and app from 5 o'clock. But back at relatively normal altitude, Millwall Sunderland is a 3 o'clock kickoff, so back to take you up to that point and beyond. Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Meet our family.
I'm not so sure about that.
There's Matt, the big brother of the family, and he knows how to romance the ladies.
The name's Matt Bailey, as in the drink, only smoother.
I'm surprised you're married.
Anna is the trendy sister that always looks cool.
I've got quite hairy eyebrows.
Right.
They're a bit uncontrolled.
Jilly is the cousin who always likes a gossip.
Loose lips sink ships, isn't it? So don't tell Jill, because she'll tell everybody.
And then there's Simon. Every family has one.
I would say people fantasize about Gary Bennett, I guess, don't they?
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, this is us. We'd love to be part of your family.
So I'll have to make sure that I've got socks on that match.
Just ask your smart speaker to play BBC Radio Newcastle.
Total Sport. BBC Radio Newcastle.
We're going to hear from Tony Mowbray very shortly. One of the advantages of grounds like the Den is we don't have to wear oxygen masks like we do at the Stadium of Light, because, well, you know how high the West Stand is there, relatively speaking. A reminder of the teams, one change for Sunderland, that's Gelhardt making his debut, of course, this afternoon on loan from Leeds. He is now at the forefront of Sunderland's attack for the season, so heaven help us if he gets injured.
You might have to bring your boots.
Well, the way things are going, it's not.
You can play up front, can't you?
It's not beyond the realms of possibility. They may be calling upon you again, because I think after your retirement, when you have been playing up front at times.
Yes, indeed.
So
much easier.
Much easier, is it? Much easier. The Millwall team, Long in goal, George Long, Danny McNamara, Charlie Cresswell, who's on loan from Leeds. So that's an interesting match-up today. Cresswell against Gelhardt, the two loanees from Leeds coming up against each other.
They'll know each other inside out.
They will.
And again, you've got Jack Clark there as well, haven't you, really?
Indeed, yeah. He'll be no stranger to them. Jake Cooper and Murray Wallace comes in to the back four. Billy Mitchell, George Saville, George Honeyman, Zian Fleming, Mason Bennett and Tom Bradshaw is the Millwall lineup. Two changes from the team that won at Cardiff. Happy birthday on Wednesday to Donna Marie Stoker. That's love from Kevin Kennedy. So happy birthday Wednesday. I hope you'll be at the game. I think really we'd like to see as many people as possible at the game itself on Wednesday to give Sunderland a fairer chance of beating Fulham.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. I would imagine that Fulham will play their big guns on Wednesday night.
Well,
and that's
from their
respect.
perspective, this is a huge opportunity for them to win some silverware this season, isn't it? They're not going to get relegated.
No, not at all. And they'll look at, obviously, they know who they're playing in the next round. It's going to be a difficult game against Leeds United, but also...
Yeah, they also know they've got a home tie next, as much as Sunderland do.
Yeah, and...
Brian, life of Brian...
Just get it out.
I know he was small, but he wasn't that small.
Okay.
Brian Oviedo.
Oviedo, that's it.
There you go. Got there. We got there in the end. I don't think we'll have any more quiz questions.
No, don't.
I don't think it's not at the moment. I'm going to give your brain a rest now. Let's hear from the Sunderland head coach, Tony Mowbray.
Tony, where are we with the likes of Dennis Sirkin, Pritchard, etc.?
Where are we? They'll be out there training today. They're joining in. They've joined in. Pritchard joined in all week. Dennis, I think they're just about there. They are both coming with us. They're both jumping on the coach. So Pritchard said we'll talk after today's training, so that in his mind he's had a full week's training, because we don't want to, if possible, we don't want to repeat what he did last time, where he maybe came back a day or two early because he was so desperate to get back involved.
Ready to take a screenshot or a picture of the telly?
So he'll have had a full week's training if he gets through today's training, and then he'll hopefully jump on the bus and play some part if and when he can. And I think the timing of it is obviously pretty good, because in our minds he's a front end of the pitch type of footballer, and the more of them we've got available to us to be able to chop and change games or just give somebody a breather or whatever it might be, it's important. And hopefully Pritch is about ready to go again.
Ross Stewart, Corey Evans, Bailey Wright, you've lost a lot of experience in the squad now. Arguably Danny Bart is your last experienced player. Is that a concern going forwards with the sort of 18, 19, possibly 20 games to play?
I think on paper it's a concern.
Yes,
of course it is. We've talked about the balance of us. It's great having so many talented young footballers, but they do need on-pitch guidance and calmness at times, and a voice out there rather than the loony on the side shouting at them all the time. But yeah, listen, Danny Bath is a top professional. I think we forget Luke O'Nine's. Is he 27 now? Is he? I think it's he's not a baby anymore. Yeah, listen, collectively there's a positive of young players playing together. If you think back to the classic team of '92 at Manchester United, people saying you can't do anything with kids. It's they can drive each other on, they can compete internally against each other to be the best player and to keep pushing and working really hard, and hopefully we can get into that scenario where the young players...
That's the Cumberland Building Society stand, what you're looking at there.
And pass, and there's nothing stopping them being good footballers, whether they're 18, 19, 20 or 27, 28, 29. So But yes, there's moments in games and there's times in a season where
they are going to be on the pitch,
settle
though.
things down and just
Apparently.
realign the ship.
You mentioned Luke O'Nien there. Obviously, he can't play this weekend, but then he's available again. But perhaps the suspension's come at the wrong time for him, because it's now hard to see where you get Luke back in the team.
Listen, and I just have to say that's football. I was watching my young son's game on Sunday. We were playing at Trimden, and two young 8-year-old Sunderland fans came rushing up to me and said, "Hey, Mowbray, what are you going to do when O'Nien gets fit?" Shoot, my dad said you're going to play back three.
And see any of the country, any of the country packed.
Listen, his dad might be right. You never know. But,
absolutely packed.
That's football.
Playing Barrow, the local team.
You have to. If the team are doing well and functioning, and you were out of it for whatever reason, you know, as I say to them sometimes, this ain't my fault. You know, the team are winning. Surely you're happy the team are winning. You just have to be patient, train really hard, work really hard, because there's an opportunity just round the corner. Someone's going to get injured. Someone's going to get sent off or suspended. You have to be ready to go. And I think Luke understands that. It's, you know, if the team are doing well, if Bath and Ballard are playing central defence and doing extremely well, and Trey Humes all of a sudden looked like he's played right back all his life and doing amazingly well. Adji, Dennis Serkin at left back, you know, where does Luke fit in? It's, well,
just to
in
do
my
the
opinion,
checks
just
and
because
things.
of the attitude and the personality.
Apparently they're walking around the pitch, but I don't know what time they're walking around the pitch. They might have already done it. They might have walked around the pitch at 2 o'clock.
There's what he brings to the
Verstappen didn't turn up till about 1:30.
On the other side of that coin, let's hope Luke O'Nien can't get in the team, because we're winning lots of football matches, and I do know the personality of him. He'll be as happy as anybody if the team's winning, and he can't get back in because we're doing so well.
2 years ago, 3 years ago, Sunderland, like probably a lot of other clubs, were buying young 20, 21-year-olds to go into the under-23s team. Would you have ever conceived a year or so ago that you'd now be in charge of a team of largely 20, 21-year-olds in the Championship?
Yeah, listen, I did that last year. As I said to you, Blackburn Rovers were the second youngest team in the Championship last year, after Barnsley, who unfortunately for them got relegated. If you're good enough, you're old enough, in my opinion. I know that's I don't want to fill it with cliches, but it's I genuinely believe that they have to produce on the grass. They have to do it at whatever age they are, and sometimes it's difficult emotionally for young people when the head coach makes tough decisions and seems to be pushing them to the side or leaving them out, because I do feel there's a bit of inconsistency somewhere within young players, and I think we see that. You know, it's good that we've got so many, of course, because how many do you need to have an amazing performance? If you get 7 or 8 of them playing really well at their maximum, you're going to have a fantastic performance. If you only have 2 or 3, you potentially you're going to lose a football match. But yeah, I don't mind working with other players, and as I've said to you in the past, I'm pretty sure that's why I'm here at this football club, because of my history of working with young players and trying to develop them. You know, I know Harvey Elliott seems the pertinent one, because he was only a few years ago, but there's been lots and lots of young players. I went at my first ever job in 2004. Scott Brown was 17-year-old and went on to become captain of Celtic in Scotland for 10 years. It's but you're only nurturing young guys. Maybe it helps me having young sons that I can work with young men. I think it's I feel quite blessed that I've been a football manager for 20 years now, and being able to adapt to young people, young footballers, and how they live, what they do, why do they do certain things. Maybe because I'm living with it at home all the time, and I see how the young guys are never off their phones, what the games that they play, the trainers they wear, the tracksuits they wear. So the fashion sense, the gaming sense, the phone stuff, I live it every day. And so maybe it's fortunate for me that I, you know, a bit later in life than most people, because of my circumstances in my life. I had children at a certain age, and here I am, not far off 60-year-old, and can still really connect with young people because I live with them every day.
You touched on Millwall earlier this season, going to the Den. I noticed they've dropped the new now. They've sort of throw back to the old Den, Cold Blow Lane, the Dockers stand. I mean, what is it about Millwall that it engenders this sort of us and them, us against the world.
Yeah, that's when they do it very, very well. Our game prep yesterday was about what they're going into, really, and I think it's important to show huge respect, you know, for what Gary's done. To be honest, Gary's a very, very talented coach, very, very intelligent guy, I think, and he's embraced what Millwall is about. I always used to think, oh, imagine having to sign for Millwall. You've got to have a certain personality to be able to go and play there. I think as I was trying to get across to a few of our young French players, you know, you think English football at times is a bit.
I don't know, maybe it's because
technical as you might like it in France.
Is he not suspended from his sending off still? The match
you
is
know, wait
back
till you
on
get
soon.
to Cold Blow Lane and wait till you feel it, because
Is
it
he
is
allowed back to
unique.
play today? I don't know.
Sometimes the stadium isn't full, but the noise during the game is quite unbelievable. They do this like drone noise, don't they? That like is the Dockers' horn calling them to work and stuff, and it's like quite it's a unique feeling going to play there, really, on this tight pitch, and the fans are right on top of you, and yeah, you've got to be brave to go and play, and that's why it's a great challenge for us, a great test, and it's one that we're looking forward to, but fully understand how difficult the challenge is.
Have you got a fear going onwards that because you're getting you're being noticed, if you like? I think the Fulham game really put Sunderland on the map as having this very young team and the talent that it's got. You mentioned Millwall.
Saving them for the Fulham match,
There's a fear that some of the older heads in this division will use that against you. I mean, in terms of, for want of a better word, intimidating younger players on the pitch, in that sense.
No, but that's always a challenge for them, I think. I tell you, I try to inspire young players. I've got loads of stories
apparently,
about
Rick
growing
played
up
for
in
the
County
Newcastle,
Son
of Newcastle and 21s as well.
And about intimidation and having to fight to survive, really. And I think my teams generally, because of the stories I can tell them, they're ready for it. They look forward to the challenge of it, and then they'll go and play their football.
Just hope he doesn't get bloody sent off.
If we're sitting after the game afterwards, having lost and been, you know, bullied out of it, for a better word, then listen, we have to accept that. But I think they go into the game knowing what's coming, and they at this moment I can feel on them that they're looking forward to the challenge of it and hoping to see that our brand of football can give Millwall some problems. We know they'll give us problems, but it's like every other game. It's a game, and who puts the ball in the opposition's net the most is going to take the points.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett, MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Sunderland fans started to filter into the stand away to our left. All the Sunderland players roundly booed off the pitch by the Millwall fans to our left, where they left after the warm-up.
That's a warning. Be careful what you say, Nicholas.
A sign of things to come, eh? The mascots, the flag bearers down below us, you can hear the noise that's being generated around the stadium at the moment as we wait for the two teams to emerge, and then we will get that roll call on the big screen of supporters' names of both Millwall and Sunderland who have passed away over the last year. Wreaths will be placed in the centre of the pitch, and then those wreaths will be placed behind each of the goals. Sunderland fans away to our left in the north stand. Away to our right is the Cold Flow Lane stand, and opposite us the Dockers stand, behind which we can see several cranes as the London skyline ever evolving, ever changing, not that we can see much beyond that. And in the corner away to our right, as a train rumbles past the massive incinerator that overshadows the stadium here. Sunderland then, Patterson in goal, then Hume, Ballard, Bart and Elise, Neil, Michu, Roberts, Ahmad, Clark and Gelhardt, and on the bench Baspar, Sirkin, Bennett, Ekwa, Anderson and Pritchard. For Millwall it'll be Long in goal, McNamara, Cresswell, Cooper and Wallace, Mitchell and Saville, Honeyman, Fleming, Bennett and Bradshaw. Plenty of Bennetts in the stadium today.
Loads of Bennetts in here.
A bit of a common name.
Huh? Common name. What are you trying to say?
I'm not saying anything.
Commoner.
I'm saying it's common. It's common. The name Bennett today is common. I'm making no further judgment of the name. On the bench for Millwall today, Bielkowski, Burke, Malone, Shackleton, Leonard, Watmore and Vogelsammer. We have only one Burke in the stadium.
One Burke?
He's on the bench.
Oh.
Oliver Burke.
I thought you was referring to yourself. Huh?
Some may do. Some may do. I'm merely referring to Oliver Burke, who's been signed on loan from Werder Bremen in the January transfer window.
Yeah, and if you remember well, I think he started.
Hello, Barry. Yes, it does stay on for the full commentary, the full match.
And do you know where he started
I do interact with the crowd, with the people coming into the chat, but
his career
it's just a channel which
Tony Mowbray Rangers.
Commentary.
Well, they're
So
not called Tony Mowbray Rangers, they're called Mowbray Rangers. I just added the Tony, because it's Tony Mowbray Rangers. That's where he started his career. And Nottingham Forest picked him up from Mowbray Rangers.
Yeah.
There you go. We're just still awaiting the teams to appear. Down below us here,
Feeling a little bit there now, isn't it?
main stand. We're in the Barry Kitchener stand here at the Den. Now the Den, they've dropped the new in the last few seasons. In fairness, it was built back in 1993, so it is actually quite old now. We're in the 30th year of this stadium this year, so it is actually the Den. The players lined up
welcome to the
in the tunnel, side by side, squeezed into what appears to be quite a narrow tunnel, actually. Thomas Bramall is the referee this afternoon. He was last in charge of a Sunderland game back in December 2021 at Portman Road, when Ipswich and Sunderland drew 1-1. And here he leads out the teams now in light blue, and immediately everybody stands up in front of us. So I can't see a thing. Absolutely typical.
I think the last time we commentated from here, we have to be careful with what we say.
It's true, we did.
We did.
Thankfully, we're a little bit further along the line today.
Is that Ollie Caden on the right hand side, second one in from the front? It is, isn't it? I think that's Ollie.
Thought you might be singing along.
I thought you were going to sing along to this.
You're the singer, not me.
That's
what you do this song.
Jolly, isn't it? Aye.
It's
got a little bit of EastEnders about it.
Down to the Den.
It's just that's the channel. It's the Carlisle channel. So
right. The niceties over. Let's get down to the game. We've got the replay in the centre circle on the centre circle.
But you've got to think that's there to show you the match, not the kids.
Spot, if you like.
Go off, you'll be able to see it.
Teams are lined up around the centre circle. The captains, the referees, and others having their pictures taken in the centre at the moment. Referee just shaking the hands of both captains. Danny Bart for Sunderland. Sunderland in their red and white stripes, black shorts and red socks. And Millwall in these navy
hard to make the boys out, wasn't it?
Shirts, white shorts.
There's Mr. Ashton, isn't it? Leading them on. You'd have to show them up when you see them, see if it was them. bed. Bed. Can you go, Mammy's back?
And a long, long list of names, both Millwall and Sunderland fans who passed away over the last year. And can I just add our condolences to Ellis Taylor's family. Ellis's father died last weekend. The Sunderland players wore T-shirts in honour of Ellis's father, and Ellis, to his credit, played for the under-21s the day after his father's death, and he's here today as well. So our thoughts with Ellis Taylor's family this Saturday afternoon. The wreath removed. I was told there were going to be two. There's only one. It's being placed behind the Millwall goal away to our right at the Cold Blow Lane end. Millwall are going to get this game underway this afternoon, defending the goal to our right, the Cold Blow Lane end. And referee at the moment just waiting for the Millwall captain to come back, jog back from placing the wreath behind the goal. So Thomas Bramwell gets the game underway here at the Den. It's played back to George Long in green, the Millwall keeper. A big kick upfield. It's headed away by Danny Bart. Comes back through the centre. George Saville, the Northern Ireland international, back to George Long. It has to say, there's a great atmosphere within the stadium. It's pretty full. There's not many empty seats here this afternoon, around 20,000. The ball bounces for Roberts. Back he plays it to Hume on the right side of the Sunderland penalty area. Headed away by Murray Wallace, one of two changes for Millwall this afternoon. Saville heads it on. Mason Bennett trying to get it forwards on the left of midfield. It's flicked back into the path of Ahmad, who gets it out to Roberts here, keeps it into the Millwall half, and he's tripped by Wallace. As Roberts went to skip round the back of him, Wallace caught him, tripped him, and a free kick right in front of the referee.
It's interesting. Did you see how Millwall started the game? The centre half ended up playing as a striker for the first 2 minutes. Raced straight upfield.
So another free kick. Sunderland on the left, just inside the Millwall half. Clark plays it back here to Danny Bart. Dan Ballard had a season here last season, played 30 championship games, started 30 championship games, substituting one as well. As away comes Clark, down the left side, trying to come past McNamara, rolls it down the left here for Elise, who's got forwards and crosses now, drops for Roberts. He tried to hoy it back into the penalty area with his left foot. It bounced a bit awkwardly for him. It came back out though, and it's picked up by Ahmad and played out to Roberts on this right-hand side. Back into Ahmad, a short tap.
We're having problems before.
Hume, down the line again to Ahmad, and Ahmad now inside to Roberts. Back
I'm
to
watching
Hume
it, thank you. Yeah,
we're
we're having problems before.
Hume into the centre, trying to get the ball to Gelhardt, who's done well to hold it and swing it over onto the left wing to Jack Clark, and Gelhardt makes a move into the penalty area. Clark gets down the left of the penalty area to the goal line, pulls it back, wins a corner.
Excellent play. And that's one thing what Sunderland have got to be this afternoon, Nick, brave on the ball.
Well, they've opened brightly. We're only a couple of minutes in, we're in the third minute. Clark will take the corner over on that left-hand side. I was told there's no stanchions or anything to obstruct my view here, and I've got a great big railing.
That's not a stanchion.
From the bottom of the steps. So I'm doing a bit of ducking and diving here to try and see what's happening in the Millwall penalty area, way to my right-hand side. Clark then with this corner. He's got Elise a few yards back. He plays it short to Elise on the touchline, and he plays it back to Clark again, who pushes it to Roberts. Back down to Elise, and he loses it. And it's going to be brought away on the right by Billy Mitchell and cleared by Millwall. Headed down by, well, Dan Neal, back into Millwall's path, and they're on the break down the right side of the Sunderland penalty area. Bradshaw here is pulled down. No, says the referee. We haven't got monitors here. I wouldn't mind seeing that one again. I think Elise may have got away with one there. He was all over the back of Bradshaw, and Bradshaw went down flat on his face. Here, though, they still come. Billy Mitchell takes a deflectionist shot, and it's, well, the referee says goal kick. It's all kicking off.
Do you think they're unhappy?
I don't want to see them get wound up anymore. Well, interesting. No penalty, said the referee, Thomas Bramall. Bradshaw, did he go down too easily? Goal kick. Anthony Patterson all in yellow away to our left. Up it floats into the Millwall half. 5th minute, 0-0. Laid off again by Fleming.
Welcome,
on the
Mark
right-hand
Jones.
side, inside here to Mason Bennett. And he's rolled it past the foot of the post. Just past the foot of the post.
Are you welcome?
From Mason
away
Bennett
from
on this
home
left-hand side.
at work and can't get the commentary on the radio.
They're really wound up for this game, aren't they?
Oh, they are.
So if you're new to the channel, just
Wolves
click
won,
the
Liverpool
subscribe
0.
button, thank you, and the thumbs up.
0-0 here. I think I heard something mumbled about an own goal in my headphones. The noise is so much here. I think it's an own goal, apparently. And 0-0 here, as I said. The ball goes out from the far side for a throw to Millwall.
And it's going to be a long throw, isn't it?
Yes, Fleming's going to take this. The Dutchman, Ian Fleming. Some 15 yards from the corner on the right. They put the big men up. Bear in mind that Jake Cooper's 6'6", the centre half. There's a bit of movement from him. He's trying to get his head on it. He did get a head on it, but headed it back down into the path of Danny Bart to clear. And now it's cleared by Dan Neal. Comes back in again. Billy Mitchell trying to get it in again, but it's cleared out to Ahmad. They chase Ahmad up the pitch. Ahmad against McNamara, and a good challenge in the end from Fleming.
Thank you, Markson. Thank you.
Gets the ball off Ahmad. It was like the charge of the Light Brigade behind Ahmad then, trying to catch up with the Ivorian. But in the end, it was all too much for him on his own. And Millwall get the ball back up the other end.
Cheers for the
Ballard
subscribers there, thank you. Cheers,
air.
Colin.
It comes down, and Saville's trying to knock it on. It comes back down on this left-hand side. In fact, Saville loses it then to Ahmad. Little back heel to Dan Neal, and a foul by Fleming on Ahmad. Just shoulder barged him down right in front of Thomas Bramall. Free kick to Sunderland on the right of the centre.
That was an absolute banker. I wish I put a 10 quid on that, to be honest with you.
Because something will happen. Here's Ballard at the back. Forwards again to Dan Neal on the halfway line. And back behind the centre circle. It's played forwards.
Can you guys hear me all right still?
Cresswell. Charlie Cresswell, who's on loan from Leeds. Preston 0, Bristol City 1. Back it goes to the goalkeeper, Long. Manchester United 1, Crystal Palace 0. Long is the kick from Long, the goalkeeper. Headed on by Mason Bennett. Drops for Honeyman.
Can you guys hear me all right?
Side. He gets a nudge in the back from Michu. Went straight down. Free kick to Millwall. Luton 1, Stoke 0.
Can you hear me, Anth, all right?
Around the 18.
Oh, that's good.
Box. That was the statistic beforehand, wasn't it? 17 goals is it this season from free kicks. This on the left-hand side.
What's for fuck's
of
sake, we're
midfield.
losing.
Out from the angle, out from the corner of the penalty area. 20 yards, more than that, 22, 23 yards out. 0-0.
That was an absolute banker, Arsenal losing that today. I was thinking about putting a 10 or 20 quid bet on that. It was a certain that was going to happen, and I'm kicking myself I haven't put a bet on.
He's got to try to help out the back four here, Patterson, if he can, by commanding his box.
2 in the wall.
Who did Sean Dyche used to manage, Jacob?
It's Honeyman and Saville
Burnley.
over the free kick. George Honeyman swings the ball towards the far post, punched out by Anthony Patterson. Billy Mitchell goes across to bring it down on the right wing. He's got Michu in front of him, curls ball back into the penalty area. Headed on by Cooper, and trying to get on the end of it was Fleming, right in front of Patterson, who's caught the ball and bowls it out quickly here. But it's flicked down into the path of
Don't forget,
Roberts.
click the thumbs up, thank
Mason
you, if
Bennett,
you can.
and played across then to Jack Clark on the left-hand side. Honeyman wins it back off Clark though, and then loses it, but the referee said he was fouled by Mishu. So free kick to Millwall in their own half on the right, 0-0 still. 9th minute live here on BBC Radio Newcastle.
Some tempo in it. They are playing at a high tempo, Millwall. Doing things quickly.
They want the first goal, don't they? I think it's the statistic every time they've taken the lead this season, they've not lost the game. Aston Villa 1, Leicester City 0. The goalkeeper George Long, former Sheffield United Hull City keeper, is going to take this free kick over on that right.
We're not doing enough. We're not doing enough pressing, like nowhere near enough pressing. Like talk about there's a football team sounds like pressing, isn't there, Jacob?
Hangs in the air. It floats up towards Jake Cooper.
There's a football team that sounds a bit like pressing.
He's going to have another go here with Ballard. It gets the head to it, but it's come out here now to Roberts, who tries to get his head on it, but it's nodded down. Did you manage? Mason Bennett on this.
Did you manage to find who the press manager was when you were in France? Because I've heard he was through there.
Clears, and it's taken on the chest on this near side by Billy Mitchell. Played inside to Wallace, and now back it comes to George Long, the goalkeeper. He kicks again.
Why'd you have to bring Preston up,
Sunderland half. Saville back behind him. Billy Mitchell at the edge of the centre circle.
Offside.
And there's a player on his own, George Honeyman, just outside the box, brings it down, plays it into Fleming, who looked to try and get the ball through on the right to McNamara, but he's played behind for a goal kick. 2-0 to Wolves now against Liverpool. 18,524 the attendance here this afternoon. The empty seats are actually at either side of the Sunderland fans in both sections of the north stand. Other than that, it's full.
Biggest attendance since 1995.
Well, there you go. Brilliant. So, you know, this stadium was only 2 years old then, so that's 28 years ago, the last time they had an attendance of this magnitude. Aston Villa 1, Leicester 1. In the 11th minute here, 0-0. Throw to Millwall, just back inside. The Millwall half on the right-hand side, drops to Honeyman, plays it onto the touchline again. It's played out again off Clark for another Millwall throw. Duncan Watmore on the bench for Millwall this afternoon, another Sunderland connection here.
It's about managing the game, Nick, as well. You know, Sunderland have got to use their heads and maybe try to take the sting out of the game.
Throw on halfway on the right for Millwall. Comes to Billy Mitchell. Mitchell trying to launch it forward. It's headed away by Danny Bart. Headed on again, though, from halfway. And then won back by Ahmad. But in the end, Roberts has to play it back to Dan Ballard. And out to Hume on this right-hand side to Ahmad. Back to Hume. Oh. Inside again, a poor ball, because he's played it to Fleming in front of Ahmad. Back to Billy Mitchell in the centre circle, and he plays it to his left to Murray Wallace, who plays it back into his own half to Jake Cooper, and he leaves it again for Mitchell in the centre.
Is Liverpool losing?
To the right wing, looking for McNamara, but one back by Sunderland. Clark trying to get forwards with this now, fouled by Honeyman. Just inside the Sunderland half on the left of midfield.
Is Liverpool losing?
Elise to Clark. Clark.
Are they? Liverpool losing, yeah?
Back again to Danny Bart. Bart back to Anthony Patterson. And Patterson to Ballard on this right-hand side. And into the centre to Dan
What's
Neal.
the Liverpool score?
Neal to Ballard, down to Roberts on the right.
They're winning 2-0.
And he's just short of halfway. Forced to play it back to Hume. Inside to Dan Neal. And Neal across to Danny Bart.
They're losing 2-0 or winning?
To Mishu, who swings it back here
God.
to Dan Ballard on this right-hand side. Ballard striding up to the halfway line in his orange boots. Out to Roberts on the right wing. And Roberts just linking it through here, edge of the area. Nice setup for Gelhardt from Hume, but he couldn't get it away. In the end, took too many touches.
Good break. Good build-up play.
And it rolls through to the goalkeeper.
I think
nice flick inside.
I think he should have hit it first time.
I think so. It's an opportunity again. 0-0 still. And a ball played loosely by Millwall this time, picked up by Roberts, but then lost after a foul on Michu.
Handball.
A handball, in fact, at the edge of the centre circle. Free kick to Sunderland. Taken in the centre by Neil, out to Roberts eventually. In the Millwall half, Roberts leaves it for Ahmad. Ahmad, Hume down the right, but he's played it on to Gelhardt. And Gelhardt inside to Roberts. Roberts now in the middle of the Millwall half, leaves it for Michu, back to Neil, down the right wing to Ahmad. And Ahmad, Hume on the overlap. Ahmad inside though to Roberts, and Roberts looks for Trey Hume. Hume back into Roberts. Roberts to Ahmad. Ahmad out to Hume again on this right-hand side, inside again to Roberts. Hume trying to get round Wallace, does so, gets the cross in, and it's headed behind for a Sunderland
good play.
Corner.
Good play again by Sunderland.
Birmingham leading Swansea by a 0-0. Roberts will take this corner down on the right. Sunderland's second. They took the first one short. This one looks as though it's going to be swung in from the right-hand side. Ahmad's just outside the penalty area. Plenty of movement, and the ball hangs in the air, comes to the back of the area, trying to get it back inside. It's headed out. Gelhardt's on the edge of the box. An attempt by Hume on the left-hand side is blocked, and he'll let it run out for a throw.
Excellent effort by Hume.
Throw's going to be taken by...
I think a point will be a
Hume.
good result down here today.
Elise to take the throw. Robertson is on his own in acres of space on this right wing. The throw from Elise short to Gelhardt, and trying to get it forwards. It's one back by McNamara. He holds it away from Elise, and it rolls behind for a goal kick.
Anna Wilkie, welcome. Hello.
Here at the Den. The goalkeeper has to go and retrieve the ball from the corner himself. Seemingly no ball boys or girls here, are there? And he collects it, brings it back.
Another subscription there.
Goal kick.
Thank you, Stacey. Thanks for that.
Goal line. Only one defeat for Millwall since the 3-0 defeat at Sunderland, and that was at Middlesbrough. The game before last, they lost 1-0. As Mason Bennett heads
My
it
boys
on,
were waving the flags at Carlisle United today on the pitch as the team was coming out.
Hooks it up towards Gelhardt, who flicks it across with his chest out to Roberts to Ahmad on this right-hand side. He goes down, but no foul. Millwall get it forwards again. Ballard heads it on straight to Mason Bennett. He loses it.
My boys were at the Carlisle game waving the flags for the teams coming out on the pitch today.
And got the ball through now to Roberts, and Roberts out to Ahmad on the right wing.
My boys, they're at the Carlisle game and they were waving the flags, guard of honour for the team coming out.
They thought he was going to cross, he didn't, but then it crashes off Mitchell as Ahmad did try and cross.
Yeah, they did.
Throw on this right-hand side for Sunderland. Quickly taken by Hume, 2-0. Forwards and just kept in by Hume. Closely watched by the
subscriber there. Thank you.
Ahmad down the right to the penalty area again.
And thanks anyway. Thank you.
Trying to get it onto his left, onto his right, back onto his left, and rolls it in to the back of the area behind Roberts, and it's cleared to Ballard and then to Bart, and Bart puts it back down the right, and it'll bounce for Ahmad, and the offside flag comes up, and a free kick to Millwall. 0-0 still. I think Tony Mowbray's going to get frustrated by.
We're still streaming, doing the streaming stuff for it, or
like we said before, to shoot,
but also there's only one way they can play. They've got to play to feet, and sometimes they might overplay.
Yeah. George Long is going to take the free kick on the left of the penalty area, drives it down the left wing. Hume heads it into the centre. Michu gets a touch, and then Gelhardt's just ploughed down by Mitchell, and a free kick to Sunderland in their red and white stripes. Don't forget, later on this afternoon, 5:30.
Thing is,
full commentary.
You have to support your club
United
through thick and thin, tooth
West
and nail.
Ham United. Back it comes to Ballard, out to Hume on this right-hand side.
Just like that tooth that they still haven't found at the Stadium of Light on the pitch.
Hume down the line to Roberts. Roberts back to Ballard. And Ballard on the right of central midfield out to Roberts. Back to Ballard, forwards to Roberts again. Then Ballard up to the halfway line. Gelhardt holding off the attentions of his Leeds teammate Cresswell and winning a free kick. Quickly taken, played across to Michu. On halfway still, then Elise on the left and out to Clark. And Clark trying to shake off McNamara, who shoves him in the back. And another free kick, again taken quickly. Elise's away on this left-hand side, plays it inside to Gelhardt, who's robbed of the ball.
Who's Liverpool playing?
Honeyman, then to Mitchell and back to the goalkeeper at the edge of his 6-yard box. And he clears. I must say Gelhardt...
Wolves have got to be at home though, haven't they?
But another free kick to Sunderland, just back inside.
Wolves must be at home.
Sunderland half, now to Roberts on this right-hand side in the 20th minute now. Down the right, Gelhardt, wide. He's going to try and come back in from the touchline. Swings the ball.
Are Wolves at home?
Centre, but straight to a handball by George Honeyman, surely. Not given. Swept through past his hand, right in front of the referee. But play has gone on, and they're looking for Bradshaw. And the ball's put out by Elise for a Millwall throw. Halfway inside.
Would they score now, any of this team? It's a tight match.
Like
it is a tight game so far.
Back it comes from the throw to Mitchell. Into the centre to Saville. George Saville, signed from Middlesbrough in 2021, the Northern Ireland international. Back onto halfway, Jake Cooper across to Charlie Cresswell. Then to Honeyman just in front of him, back to Cresswell just inside the Sunderland half. Honeyman again, back to Cresswell. Honeyman's had his hair cut since the last time
Another
we saw
subscriber
him.
there, thank you.
Much shorter now.
Philip, cheers.
And it's come back to George Long. He's urging everybody forwards, pushes the ball out, left-footed, drives us over the halfway line. Hume and Mason Bennett battle, drops over the pair of them. It's gone out for a throw to Sunderland. Hume will take this deep in the Sunderland half on the right-hand side. They finished 9th last season, Millwall, so they're going to emulate that at least, I should think, this season. As Gelhardt tries to get the ball forwards, nobody there.
Gelhardt is a great side, and I hope he stays at Sunderland. He is only on loan, and I don't think there's any clause for him to stay at Sunderland. I think he will be going back to Leeds.
Back to Cooper. Cooper up
there is a
towards
purchase
the halfway
option.
line, swings it across to the right again, looking for McNamara, who takes it on his chest. Danny McNamara, local lad from Sidcup, and he plays it inside to Saville. Saville looking again to try and get it to Honeyman into the penalty area, headed out by Barr. Fleming has a go, and it's over the top off a deflection for a corner to Millwall. So of course up comes Jake Cooper, strolling up. Cresswell will join him. Between them, Cresswell and Cooper, the two centre-backs, 6 goals this season. Honeyman's going to take the corner from the right-hand side. We're almost halfway through the first half. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle. It's 0-0 as Honeyman with his right takes the corner into the 6-yard box. Heads go up, it comes back out to Roberts to try and head out, and it'll bounce over Mitchell. He brings it down under pressure from Roberts and manages to steer it back to McNamara in the centre circle, who's under pressure from Ahmad. Up to Fleming, heads it in the air. Cooper still up, bounces down though for Neal, and he gets it up to Mitchell in the centre circle. Forwards to Fleming again, and he heads it out to the wing and out for a throw to Sunderland. Quickly taken by Hume to Roberts, back to Hume, and Hume takes it. Oh, he nearly gave it to Bradshaw, and Neal had to tidy up and get it back to Bart. Bradshaw almost intercepted it, and he's got away with it there, Trey Hume. Out to Elise on the left wing, and Elise further on to Clark, back to Elise. Elise inside to Dan Neal, tries to get it forwards. Honeyman clears for Millwall. He looks for Bradshaw, but it'll be hooked away from the corner of the penalty area, up on the touchline to Clark. Couldn't keep it in. Throw to Millwall again. About a third of the way inside the Sunderland half. Swansea 1, Birmingham 1. West Bromwich Albion beat Coventry last night.
Adam Morton says, come on Sunderland. Yeah, how are the lads?
Today,
how do you think we've been playing so far then?
Yesterday 3-0.
And a free kick.
3-0.
to Millwall, just inside the Sunderland half,
Any
just left of the centre
of our new
circle.
players, how do you think Gelhardt's performing?
Down below us here. Tony Mowbray strolls about, his arms folded in his tracksuit. It was indeed 3-0 to Burnley.
And Sheffield United drew, I think, with Rotherham.
They did, yes. Rotherham and Sheffield United 0-0. Free kick for Millwall. Wallace takes it, hangs it up at the edge of the penalty area. Just smashed away by Jack Clark. And it'll roll out for a throw on halfway on the right-hand side. 24th minute, Millwall 0, Sunderland 0.
Cooper stayed up, look.
Yeah, he has. And he's on the shoulder of Dan Ballard at the moment. And they're looking for him. George Long's looking for him for his kick. Up goes Ballard and gets in front of Cooper. Comes down to Mitchell, heads it on. Headed on again by Saville, but Ballard wraps his foot round it and gets it out to Roberts on this near side. And then inside to Michu. And he's holding off two before he's pushed down.
We're all together, we're all Sunderland fans, no matter what we are, what channel we are, we all Sunderland supporters.
Right,
we're all
just
together.
Inside the Millwall half. It's been a lot of pushing by Millwall.
A lot of pushing, a lot of niggly fouls. But Sunderland have got to continue doing what they are doing. Moving the ball quickly.
You're at Yorkshire, aren't you, Jacob? You're Yorkshire.
Takes a short free kick to Ahmad. It comes back off.
You'd be quite near Preston, are you?
For a throw to Sunderland on the right-hand side. Roberts to Hume on halfway on the right. Back
is that Northwest, is it? I don't know. Because I know Yorkshire's quite a big county, isn't he?
And passes it to Danny Bart. And then on to the left, Michu. Back to Bart, up towards halfway, and Gelhardt's trying to get the ball across, but fouled. Right in front of the referee again, just right of the centre circle by Saville. And yet another free kick to Sunderland. Referees having a word with Saville and Cooper, the captain.
Fouls, isn't there?
Yeah,
niggly fouls.
Free kick taken by Dan Neil, played back to Dan Ballard, out to Trey Hume on
Mike,
this right-hand side. Hume inside to Ahmad.
Got a lion's face there. Well, good luck to Millwall as well.
Gelhardt trying to get away from Cooper. He leaves it for Ahmad, who stumbles. Again. And the free kick's given the other way. Ahmad pleading with the referee. And the referee's given the free kick to Millwall.
So it's counting 0-0 at the minute, Adam.
Murray Wallace will take the free kick. Sign from Scunthorpe.
Welcome Igloo anywhere.
Former Rangers defender. And Wallace then from just inside his own half, left of the centre circle, up into the Sunderland penalty area. Drops here for Fleming. Gets a shot away. It's blocked. Honeyman gets it in with the flags up. Cooper's offside as Honeyman. Cooper tried to get his head on the end of Honeyman, who was offside, trying to pull the ball back.
Some noise in here, isn't there?
It is, yeah. You can't think straight. Nil-nil. Here's Hume on the right, closed down by Mason Bennett, who gets a foot to it, comes back to Dan Ballard. We're in the 28th minute. Neil in the centre of the Sunderland half to Hume, back to Ballard. Roberts out wide, Ballard plays it forwards to Hume, back to Ballard. And Ballard out wide to Roberts. Roberts back again into the centre to Dan Neil. And
some noise at Millwall, there must be a decent crowd.
Out wide to Elise on the left, to Clark. Little thick inside to Gelhardt, can't get past the last man. Cresswell gets it through to Fleming. On to Bennett on this left-hand side, taking on Ballard in the penalty area, flinging it back to Fleming. Oh, it's spilled! Patterson spilled it, Honeyman scores.
Honeyman.
George Honeyman right in front of Patterson to stab the rebound home. And George Honeyman gives Millwall the lead in the 29th minute.
George Honeyman
He's gone to discuss it with the linesman about if he was offside or not.
I think the referee, as you say, has gone across the assistant.
The linesman never put his flag up.
Oh, Patterson totally screwed that up
it
there.
Came
like
off Patterson. Fleming's shot.
Offside.
Offside. It's ruled out.
It's ruled offside. It's ruled offside.
That is what you call VAR.
It's ruled offside. It's ruled offside.
Ruled offside.
I tell you what,
it's 0-0.
That is a warning.
That is a warning. That is a warning.
Patterson should have done better with it. He's come back off him. George Honeyman has reacted, but the linesman didn't put his flag up.
No, he didn't. He didn't. And you're right, Patterson should have done better. He should have held that. It wasn't struck with enormous venom by Fleming. But the referee now is embroiled in a conversation with George.
That was
Saville
scrappy from Patterson,
centre.
that like.
The ball returned to Anthony Patterson.
It's an interesting one, isn't it, Nick? Because the linesman didn't flag.
No, he didn't.
It's always the case, though, isn't it? Honeyman and Watworth that scored.
Around the referee, told him to have a word with the linesman, and he's given offside. So maybe, I think the linesman was waiting or thought that he automatically knew that George Honeyman was in an offside position when he tapped it in, and he thought he was going to give it for that.
Don't forget to click that thumbs up button, and if you can, let's get to
that's the phase.
30 likes before half time.
When Fleming took the shot, the initial shot.
Hit that.
0-0
Hit that subscribe button as well, thanks if you just joined.
And we've got another offside. This at the other end now, and a free kick.
Tell you what, he's lost it.
Swansea 2, Birmingham 1. Millwall took a throw, but the referees pulled it back. It's a free kick for offside. And it's Middlesbrough 1.
Hello, George Pettit. How are you doing? Anyone know where to watch the game? Just have to try and search SCFC.com, I think. It's 0-0, George, at the minute. 0-0.
And a free kick to Millwall, just inside their half on the right-hand side. Driven up through the middle. Strong header forwards by Cooper. Comes back out to Mason Bennett, who can't get his foot round it. And then Saville putting it back into Cooper. He goes down. Referee says no penalty. There is further anger.
Well, it seems to be all Millwall at the minute, creating the chances.
Oh, he thought. And now there's a bit of a ruck in the penalty area. There are Millwall Sunderland players surrounding who I can't see. The referee's pulled out Danny Bart, or Danny Bart's gone for a word with the referee. The melee is broken up.
That wasn't a penalty, for God's sake.
Cooper again, he's involved in
Patterson plucked the ball down, and then there was a bit of a ruck. Aston Villa 2, Leicester 1. I said to you earlier,
Middlesbrough 1, Blackpool 0, apparently.
Nick, I'm in shock. I'm a bit surprised this is happening.
Yellow card for Cooper.
Listen, you are in the Lions' den.
We are, and there's no doubt about it.
How's Sunderland doing? Someone's asking in the chat. I would say it's been pretty scrappy. Millwall just getting them better of the chances. They've had a goal disallowed for offside, but
before.
I apologise.
Sunderland under the cosh.
What they think of the referee here?
Well, that is what he works in the bank.
He's well, possibly. Patterson then with the free kick.
Been a lot to talk about anyway, that's for sure.
He kicks up over the halfway line, down the right-hand side. It comes out for a throw to Sunderland.
Bit hostile, shall we say. Heated.
Heated is a word. That's a good word. It's heated. Heated. A block by Mason Bennett on Hume here. Down the left wing. Bennett's kept it in. Hume tracks back with him. And it's a throw to Millwall.
I think there'll be one or
we haven't even threatened their goal yet, have we?
The way things are going, I think there'll be a red.
Here's a long throw.
Yeah. Fleming to take
you've got to weather the storm.
Long throw. 33rd minute, creeping into the 34th minute here. Goalless. And Fleming hurls the ball into the penalty area. It's nodded down by Bart, hooked in the air, and bounces for Bradshaw outside the box, trying to get round Gelhardt. He's held him off, Bradshaw.
Well done.
Drives it at Gelhardt, who then clears up to the halfway line, where it's picked up by McNamara and played back to the goalkeeper.
I'm pleased the weather's dry for me boys being at the game anyway.
George Long just tapping the ball out into the outfield, then driving it up into the Sunderland half again under the grey skies of London. On the halfway line, it's headed on again by Cresswell, headed back again by Neal. A block on Ahmad. Wallace hooks it away to Honeyman in the centre circle. Back to
Every
Billy
time I
Mitchell
keep looking at
him.
the screen, it's just Sunderland
And
defending.
Mitchell
Millwall are in our box, in our half all the time.
On the right for Millwall.
You do well to
Taps
go
it behind
get in
him
a
to
half time
Charlie
at 0-0, I
Cresswell.
would say.
And Cresswell across here now to Cooper, who plays it back to George Long, the goalkeeper. He's
Like they've changed the formation, haven't they? Millwall, they've gone like a 4-4-2.
with Mason Bennett and Bradshaw.
Fleming's come. Mason Bennett's gone
Playing wide
alongside
on the left.
Bradshaw.
They're closing down
I
well,
see what you
Millwall.
mean,
They're not
yeah.
giving Sunderland much time on the
Fleming's
ball
come
at
off
all.
his left-hand
wing
side,
and-
and Honeyman's on the right-hand side.
And here is Fleming, trying to get away down towards the corner. It comes off Hume for a throw to Millwall. Another long throw from the Dutchman's Ian Fleming. He's not scored in 5 games, Fleming. He's got 10 goals this season. He is a threat, but now it's the threat from his throw in front of the Sunderland fans in the north stand at the Den. Here it comes, hurls it again to the back
Does
of
the
the
stream
6-yard
keep
box,
freezing,
rolled
Ant, or is
down
it
by
my phone?
Cooper, who now tries to get his foot on the end of it, comes back out to Fleming, hooked back in by Bennett, headed away by Bart, only as far as Wallace, heads it back in again. Down goes Honeyman, looks at the referee, gets nothing, and Mishu hooks it away on the far side. Collected by Ahmad.
I think he's tie-dyed it.
What control from Ahmad. He
Yes.
plays it inside to Gelhardt.
Tie-dyed
Now
his
Roberts trying to
tash-tastic.
turn it back. Tackle by Honeyman for a throw to Sunderland.
Oh, thanks,
Elise comes
JD.
forwards to
Mate, I'm a Liverpool
take
fan.
this.
Nice one. Oof, it's not exactly a nice one, is it? I don't know what is going on at
Saying
Liverpool at the minute. It's
rattles
just
past.
something
in
not
between the
right.
Gaps of the stand. The Dockers stand on the far side as the ball comes down here for Cresswell to clear.
But there's still
Goes
plenty of
down
time
the
for Liverpool to
touchline,
turn that
goes
around,
out,
of
throw
course.
to Millwall this time. It's 0-0 still in the 36th minute. Now we're here live on BBC Radio Newcastle. Remember, we'll
Come
be
on,
back
son, and do
Wednesday
something.
night
Threaten the goal at
for that
least.
FA Cup 4th round replay.
It's Tony Mowbray
against,
standing with his arms
Fulham,
folded.
who drew last night with Chelsea, who you were telling me today, the Chelsea squad or team last night was worth £670 million. Here's Anthony Patterson to clear, up towards the halfway line. Wallace rolling it through here, looking for Bradshaw,
Come back,
comes down to
Kings, we are.
Fleming,
Soon see.
and he plays it now looking for Mason Bennett, but cut out by Hume, who's tripped by Bennett.
I think Sunderland are missing Stewart then.
And a foul for Bennett now.
Once upon a time in Istanbul.
And
classic game, classic game.
the free kick taken by Hume. Martin Emerson, our cricket commentator, says he always thought of he's called it the new Den, but it's now the Den. Always thought of it as the ultimate Subbuteo Stadium. But now Bennett's fouled by Hume. They want Hume to be booked.
I reckon Madrid, Liverpool, both legs results will be.
There's no sign that the referee's going to comply with the wishes of the Millwall fans. All he's going to do is have a word.
Someone's just asked, what do you reckon Madrid, Liverpool, both leg results will be? I'm talking about Champions League, I
the
think.
ball away towards the touchline. Humes
Is it
even got
Atletico
away
Madrid
without
or
having
Real
had a word,
Madrid?
actually. I mean, as the referee's
Well, it was
jogging back up now, he's going to have a word
foul,
now.
wasn't it? Really.
And having a word in his ear.
I don't have much confidence
And,
with Liverpool
that's
the way
it.
they're going
Free
on
kick
at the
then to-
moment. It's
We've got to defend this set piece.
Millwall on this left-hand side, Murray
for
Wallace
the fancy
will take it again in
Madrid,
front of Tony
whichever
Mowbray on
Madrid
the
it is, the
touchline.
current form that they are.
And curls it into the back of the area, headed away by Mishu. Billy Mitchell picks it up, plays it out wide to Honeyman, who's tackled. And back it comes to McNamara. He's tackled
It's
by
Real
Clark
Madrid,
on
it
the
is.
touchline, throw to Millwall. And McNamara will take the throw. Solihull Moors 0, Gateshead 1.
Holy pigs,
Away
trosses,
comes
it's been a boring game.
Trying to get Bradshaw in, but it's going to roll behind for a goal kick. And it's still 0-0, 39th minute as we roll towards half-time. Be nice for a bit of peace and quiet, wouldn't it, really?
Do you think the referee will get a nice...
It's a funny game, JD, you never know what's going to happen.
Sure, he's braced himself for it.
Never a dull moment.
I just hope this isn't the thing to come for Sunderland, where surely Stewart's not going to make that much of a difference with performances.
6-yard line.
When new signings and stuff, because if we start dropping in form and that, you can see the fans jump on the bandwagon saying we should have got a striker in the transfer window.
He and Fleming both wearing orange boots, and the ball on halfway. Ahmad gets a foot to it. Saville does as well, but he puts it out for a throw to Sunderland. Huddersfield 1, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Of course, we'll be at Loftus Road in a week and a half's time. As the ball now with Gelhardt, and it's Aston Villa 2, Leicester 2. And Gelhardt again battling with Wallace and Bennett on the halfway line before Hume puts his foot through it. And out it goes for a Sunderland throw, halfway inside the Millwall half.
It makes me laugh.
Anything in particular? Anything in particular?
I said it's scary enough the men, but it's the women who are screaming and shouting and getting to the feet.
Whatever you do, don't upset anybody.
Yeah?
I don't want to be having.
Is there any evening kick-offs in the Premier League today?
Brentford 1, Southampton 0. A block by Hume on Mitchell.
He loves the tackle, doesn't he?
Ross Craig, you never know.
Throw to Millwall. Left here for Wallace to take again in front of Tony Mowbray in the 40th minute, 5 minutes till half-time.
Will you be pleased to half-time if it stays 0-0 then?
And Cooper plays it across to Cresswell.
And would you change anything if you were Tony Mowbray, or keep it as it is?
And he's driven it right up the other end to Anthony Patterson, who catches that comfortably. Rolls it now to Ballard. And Ballard bringing this out and being chased by Bradshaw, but gets the ball away. And it's picked up by Michu now in the Millwall half, and he's rolled it out to Clark on the left-hand side. Clark has got Michu inside, but it was a poor touch inside, and it's easily cleared by Cresswell. Behind Michu by several
We're missing
yards.
Pritchard, aren't we? I mean, who've we got in midfield at the minute?
Wide on the left-hand side, just inside his own half. And he plays it back to Patterson. Outside his area, in the middle. Plays it back to Danny Bart. Bart.
Thanks, JD. Newcastle West Ham. It's 5:30 game today.
Plays it back again to Danny Bart.
See where Hume's gone.
Hume
goes in field,
in the middle. He goes into the centre. It's something we sort of watched the other week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Drifts into the middle.
Yes, the way
and now
things are
here
going.
he is again from Ahmad.
The boys aren't going to get very warm. It's currently Carlisle 0, Harrogate 0. Hopefully can jump up and down and
unless
he goes into
create some body heat. Some bottle down them.
And he's drifted into the middle again.
Just rotating.
Driven up through the middle by Dan Neal, looking for Gelhardt, cleared by Millwall, up to Fleming on the halfway line, and it's come all the way back to George Long, the Millwall keeper, all in green, light green, away to our
really
right-hand
half-time,
side.
Millwall versus Sunderland.
Cold Blow Lane end, the incinerator end, at the Den. Attractive surroundings.
You guys hoping to just not drop points in this Millwall game? I mean, every team doesn't want to drop points, but they're a tough team, Millwall. Yes, any Sunderland fan, I think they will be happy with a point today.
Down now, and out on the left wing, trying to get forwards. Michu, tackled, throw to Millwall, says the assistant and the referee. Just shy of halfway. Just under 3 minutes until half-time, and I think we have an enormous amount of time added on. There's that little melee, wasn't there, a little ruck, plus the disallowed goal. Cresswell forwards to Mitchell. Mitchell spins away from Michu, gets it back to Cooper, closed down by Roberts out to the left.
I'd just like to see second half a bit more attacking from Sunderland. I want to see us like just peppering the goal a bit more, creating problems for them.
Closed down by Roberts again, and back to the goalkeeper, who swings his left foot through it. Up to the halfway line.
Squad.
Up goes Ballard, gets above Bradshaw, but it comes straight down to Honeyman. Out to McNamara on the far side, Clark in front of him. McNamara plays it back to Cresswell, across to Cooper. It's now Brentford 2, Southampton 0, and pushed out to Saville. And forwards here to Fleming. A little flick back out to the wing to Wallace, looking to get Mason Bennett away. Comes off Ballard for a throw to Millwall.
Brentford too, isn't it?
Deep in the Sunderland half on the left-hand side.
Who's playing the best, mate? It's hard to tell, really. I think it's... Would you say it's a 50-50 game so far? Who's playing the best, would you say?
Of course, up goes Cooper on the shoulder of Danny
Millwall
Bart
on the upper hand,
6-yard line. Fleming drying the ball off, and Cresswell's up there as well. Cooper in the 6-yard box. On his shoulder is Ballard. It's played a shorter throw this time to Mitchell, who swings the ball in towards the far post. There's looked like a bit of shirt tugging going on, but nothing that the referee's too concerned about. It's come right back out to McNamara to the right of the centre circle. Down goes Wallace in the penalty area, and Cooper in the penalty area, but nothing. And Fleming to Mason.
You want to hear my latest song I've sung, Marillion? Good tune.
It's a corner to
called Cayley.
More appeals for a penalty.
I tell you what.
Oh dear.
These will get a part in EastEnders.
Come on, son, and need a win, says Adam.
Who says they haven't already? Extras. Down to take the corner is George Saville. Fleming strolls away. Saville then on this left-hand side.
Are you confident in saying Sunderland is safe in this division now? We're not going to go down. Can you be confident in saying that?
On what's happening around the 6-yard box. And Saville has a quick word with Fleming, who now jogs back into the penalty area from the goal line. And Saville's corner swings out, headed in here towards Wallace. And it's come down for Cresswell, who spins on it, and it hits the advertising boards between the two tiers of the stand.
At times it's not pretty, you know, to get it in there,
brutal, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to deal with it.
Well, that's the 45 minutes played. 1 minute, 0-0.
You don't think without Stewart will fall quicker than that Preston plays tooth at the Stadium of Light?
Ahmad to Roberts. Got about 40 seconds left. Roberts across to Clark on the far side.
What a pass.
And now two are down here. Mason Bennett and getting to his feet is Roberts, but he's hurt. Bennett is still down on the floor. Referee's let play go
Telly
on.
says Gelhardt is very quiet. I actually said that before.
Telly. With the ball. He's fouled. Free kick, quickly taken. Gelhardt's trying to lob the keeper, but it's gone wide. And now they will come back to see what the problem with Mason Bennett is.
I think it's a bad injury he's got there, Nick.
I think it is. Villa 2, Leicester 3. He seems to be in some pain, Mason Bennett. The referee let play go on.
Yeah, he's in some pain.
It's not. This isn't good. They're calling for the medics now, and a stretcher for Mason Bennett.
They're calling for the stretcher.
And the referee, I think he's going to blow for half-time. He is. He blows for half-time. The predictable response to half-time from the Millwall fans.
Half-time indeedy.
But treatment.
Thanks to everybody tuning in the chat so far. I don't know if you're going to go and get your cup of tea or your Bovril or your big trotters or whatever
it is.
A
goal disallowed in the first half. George Honeyman had his goal ruled off for offside. Fleming's shot initially was parry well. Patterson should have done better, but he parried it right into the path of Honeyman. But Honeyman was in an offside position when Fleming took the shot. And the goal was ruled out after the Sunderland players went to the referee.
The referee's coming off.
There's one particularly angry Millwall fan down in front of us here.
One.
He's more angry than the other, nice. Believe me.
That's a nice way to put it.
So you can imagine what level he's at. As Mason Bennett is still being treated on the pitch. He's rolled onto his back now. They've stuck at it, Sunderland. There's been a lot of fouls, there's been a lot of pushing, a lot of shoving.
You've got to give a lot of credit to Sunderland in that first 45 minutes. You know, they've rode the storm, they've fought, they've picked up the first ball, if not the second ball. And at times they've tried to play it, and that's what they've got to continue doing. We know what it's going to be. You are going to get bombarded, but when we've got to play our game.
Couple of half chances early on, Gelhardt, Ahmad, but they were half chances, and I think it's come back to the old thing. We've said it so many times this season. why take 1 or 2 touches when just hit it first time?
Yeah, you know, that's something which Tono
good result so far. Millwall are bossing it.
Getting your shots away, you know.
It is. They're at home. They've got the fans behind them.
Got his shot away. You
It's
know,
0-0.
at times we've
They
talked
have been the
about
better
maybe
side.
they've tried to overplay and walk the ball into the net.
It's not dull. It's half time.
That's one way to describe it.
Just one way. The second half to come, of course, on safc.com and BBC Radio Newcastle. It may sound boring at 0-0, but believe me, it's not. Millwall 0, Sunderland 0.
Everyone has a story to tell.
There's a lot more perks to having alopecia than I thought.
If you're aged 11 to 18, the BBC wants to hear from you.
Just because somebody's disabled doesn't mean that they can't achieve something.
So that your story can be told across TV, radio and online.
I really hope my story has helped people who are going through similar things.
Go to bbc.co.uk/young reporter competition to find out more and see the full rules and privacy notice.
You have a voice that matters.
Entry closes just before midnight on Friday the 31st of March 2023.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Goalless then at the Den.
So I'm going to send you a
picture.
picture.
We'll be
Can
back
you
with
tell
Nick
me what the
Barnes
hell
and
this
Gary
is?
Bennett very shortly for full commentary of the second half. In the Premier League then, the early kickoff saw a bit of a shock. Well, a big shock actually. The leaders Arsenal losing at Everton 1-0.
We've seen a few halves like that from Sunderland, haven't we? It's been Millwall on the front
in charge of Everton going very well indeed in the 3 o'clock games, and of which I think there are 6.
Not being very impressed with it at all.
Lots of goals though. Leicester City 3-2 up at Aston Villa at half time. Ollie Watkins gave Aston Villa the lead. James Madison equalised. A Harry Suter own goal made it 2-1 to Aston Villa. Then Kelechi Iheanacho equalised again for Leicester City. Then gave them the lead on the stroke of half time.
Just looks flat with no plan B at the minute,
Aston
but
Villa
hey,
2,
second half could come, who
Leicester
knows?
3 at the break. Brentford leads Southampton by 2 goals to 0. They scored both of those in the final 5 minutes of the first half. Ben Mee and Brian Mbeumo. Brighton 0, Bournemouth 0. Manchester United 1-0 up though on Crystal Palace. A Bruno Fernandes penalty after 7 minutes. Liverpool are 2-0 down at Wolves. A Joel Matip own goal, and then Craig Dawson. It was 2-0 after 12 minutes, and it's 2-0 at half time as well. It's only 5 games at 3 o'clock because the 5:30 kickoff, to which we will come back very shortly, is Newcastle United against West Ham United.
Get the latest team news, score updates and post-match reaction on Twitter at BBC Newcastle.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
There were 2 early games in the Championship. Burnley won 3-0
Apparently if you zoom
at
in, it's
Norwich.
actually part of
Zaroury in the
thingy.
first half, Vitinho and Hjalmar Ekdal in the
Because
second.
I'm asking Lynn Hicks.
The other early kickoffs are
what the
Rotherham
hell is
and
it? She's
Sheffield
saying
United
zoom in.
draw 0-0 in a South
Someone
Yorkshire
says that
derby.
Carry
The
Hall
3
is
o'clock games
particularly
in the
well
Championship.
misplaced.
Huddersfield won,
I don't know
Queen's
what the
Park
hell a
Rangers
Carry
won.
Hall is.
Jamal Lowe for the away side.
What's
Early
a
on,
Carry
Martin Waghorn equalising for Huddersfield. Goalless between Hull and Cardiff, but Luton are 1-0 up on Stoke City. Pelly Roddick and Panzu after 6 minutes. Middlesbrough 1-0 up on Blackpool. Chuba Akpom with his umpteenth of the season after half an hour. Bristol City have just actually scored a second on the stroke of half time, so they lead 2-0 away at Preston. Mark Sykes early on, Sam Bell with that late one. Watford also winning away from home 1-0 up at Reading thanks to Ismail Assar. And it's Swansea 2, Birmingham City 1. They've come from behind Swansea to lead. A Scott Hogan penalty gave Birmingham the first goal of the afternoon. Joe Pirro equalised. Liam Cullen giving Swansea the lead, so it's 2-1 there at half-time.
The Newcastle United and Sunderland AFC podcast.
Subscribe on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Into League One, Lincoln City winning 1-0 away at Accrington Stanley. No goals between Bolton and Cheltenham. A very early Mo Isa penalty has MK Dons 1-0 up away at Bristol Rovers. Cambridge United won Ipswich 0. Derby also winning 1-0 at home to Morecambe. David McGoldrick on this very stroke of half-time. Exeter won Charlton Athletic 2. They were 2-0 up quite early on, actually, in that one, Charlton. No goals in the next 3 games. Fleetwood Burton, Forest Green Peterborough and Oxford United against Shrewsbury. Wycombe Wanderers 1-0 up away at Port Vale. No goals between Portsmouth and Barnsley. And an early Callum Pattison goal is the only difference between Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth at half-time. In League 2, there was an early kick-off that saw Newport County win 2-1 at home to Swindon, but Swindon were down to 10 men after just 15 minutes in that one. In the 3 o'clock kick-offs, very few goals really across League 2. So Bradford are 1-0 up on Mansfield thanks to Andy Cook. Carlisle 0, Harrogate 0, Colchester 0, Barrow 0. Grimsby are winning 2-0 away at Crewe at half-time. And then the next 4 games are all goalless. So Doncaster Hartlepool, Gillingham Crawley, Leyton Orient, AFC Wimbledon and Northampton Walsall. No goals in any of them at half-time. Salford City are leading Rochdale 1-0. Stockport County 2-1 up on Tranmere Rovers. That's second Stockport goal coming in first half stoppage time. And it's Sutton United 0, Stevenage 0.
Total Sport.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
We've had goals in our non-league matches though, and
let's have a look and see what social media is saying.
Successes so far. Gateshead 1-0 up away at Solihull Moors at the break. Dan Ward.
Very physical game. Ignore the idiots in the negative comments.
Spartans are leading at Leamington as well. Sam Hodgson.
Terrible. That's all I can say. Millwall set out to stop any form of football being played from Sunderland,
in the Northern
and it seems to be working well for them. Very toothless and lacklustre from Sunderland.
City. Morpeth are losing 1-0. At Ashton United, but our feature game today is in the East Division of the NPL. Dunstan at home to Long Eaton United, and our non-league reporter Paul Dixon can tell us how the opening 45 minutes have gone.
Well, I wish I was telling you good news, Colin, but it's not. It's Dunstan 0, Long Eaton 1, and it could have been a lot more. They went ahead on 22 minutes. It was a James Walker cross to the near post from a corner, and there was Rhys Bertram to just flick the ball in at the near post for a good finish. But Callum Milton, he could have put them ahead on 10 minutes, a real good chance in front of goal and fired over the bar. And then Tom Carson's, who's looked a real good player, good run down the right, and his shot just went inches past the post. Craig Scott, after 40 minutes, did have a header over the bar, and Jack Elliott caused the goalkeeper to make a real good save. But it's a difficult pitch here, Colin, really, really heavy, and it's Long Eaton who are really enjoying the better of the play on this heavy pitch. I think Chris Swales will need to have a little chat at half-time to say we need a bit more from you in the second half. Dunstan 0, Long Eaton 1.
Thank you, Paul. Better news for North Shields in that same East Division. They are 2-1 up away at Brighouse Town. They had been 1-0 down, but an Oden goal brought them level. And then Paul Van Zanvliet on the half-hour mark. So North Shields 2-1 up at Brighouse Town. The other two teams away from home and goalless at half-time. So Hebburn 0-0 away at Grantham, Consett 0-0 away at Stocksbridge Park Steels, and Berwick Rangers in Scotland's Lowland League drawing 0-0 at half-time. At home to Cumbernauld Colts as well. Our non-league roundup this afternoon will be at half-time in the Newcastle United match, so somewhere in the region of 6:20.
Total Sport.
It ended all square at Craven Cottage.
Right, catch you guys in a bit. I'm just going to grab a snack. I've got a packet of fried chicken lips to eat, so I'll be back in 2 ticks.
If they're to make the 5th round of the FA Cup. Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett will have every kick live from the Stadium of Light. We build up to kick off Wednesday night from 6.
Great sport kicks off here.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Millwall 0, Sunderland 0 at half-time. We'll be back with Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett in about 5 minutes' time for commentary of the second half. But that is our first of 2 commentaries today, because Newcastle United take on West Ham at St James's Park. It is a 5:30 kick-off. The build-up will begin once the Sunderland match has finished. Matthew Raisbeck and John Anderson will be your commentary team as always, but Razor joins us now for a quick chat. Good afternoon, Matthew.
Hi, Colin. Good afternoon.
Team news-wise then, Anthony Gordon, Harrison Ashby, both signed in the final week of the transfer window. Are either of them going to play today, though?
Well, they're both available, and they'll come into the thinking for Eddie Howe as far as his squad for the match is concerned. I think it would be a surprise to see either of them start, especially Ashby, with Kieran Trippier, of course, playing right back. But Anthony Gordon may have more of an opportunity, and I think we could see him at some point, probably from the bench today, with Newcastle having to make, Colin, at least one change to the team because of the suspension that Bruno Guimaraes is serving. This is the first match of a 3-game ban for his red card in the semi-final against Southampton. So the big decision for Eddie Howe is who comes in for him, and because of a lack of central midfielders, we would probably expect Joe Linton to drop back from the left side of the attack, and then that spot would open up either for someone like Anthony Gordon, Alan San-Maximo, who hasn't started a league match since August, or Jacob Murphy, a player who has featured in almost all of Newcastle's matches this season, so he has more options for the left side than central midfield, and I think that's why we'd expect Joe Linton to go back into a position where he's played so effectively for Newcastle, and then someone else to get their chance on the left. The only thing we're not sure on is Alexander Isak's participation in the match. He went off with a head injury the other night. Eddie Howe said yesterday at his press conference he wasn't sure whether Isak would be available.
Yeah, we will find out in about half an hour's time, actually, that Newcastle United starting lineup. Just sort of because there was so much excitement on Tuesday night, understandably. We can look forward to Wembley, the fans can look forward to Wembley, but the players have got 3 rather important games between now and then, and they mustn't be distracted.
Well, they're in the race not just for European football, but for Champions League football, and with Manchester United winning at half-time this afternoon, Newcastle will drop down a place to 4th if things stay as they are, and Tottenham would then be 3 points behind. So there are teams below them like Brentford and Fulham last night against Chelsea. Brighton are in the mix as well, that are picking up points, that are on good runs, and Newcastle, who have been drawing 0-0 in 3 of their last 4 Premier League games. The other was a 1-0 victory with a very late goal. Could probably start putting a run of victories together, and it will be an ideal time to begin that, Colin, especially with the lead up to Wembley. They've got this match, they've got Bournemouth away, and then a fixture against Liverpool at home coming up before they play the League Cup final. So they'll want to, I think, tighten their hold on one of those top 4 spots and not lose any ground to the teams chasing them. And they're up today against a West Ham side that maybe surprisingly has struggled a bit this season. They've been just above the relegation zone. In fact, they're only out, as things stand, the live league table, of the bottom 3 on goal difference.
Matthew Raisbeck, thank you very much indeed. So the build-up, like I say, will begin after the Sunderland match finishes, and I'll run through the full-time score. So probably about 5:05 we'll hand over to Razor and John Anderson. A 5:30 kick-off at St James's this afternoon. Just time to bring you some other results involving our local teams, or fixtures actually, most of them are still, across the weekend. Last night in the basketball in the BBL, Newcastle Eagles 84-70 winners over Sheffield Sharks at home. They won the final quarter actually by 16 in the end. They were 2 down going into the final 10 minutes. Kyle Johnson top scoring with 24. They're away at Cheshire Phoenix tomorrow evening. In the WBBL, the Newcastle Eagles again are at home to Manchester Met Mystics tonight at 7:30. But Durham Palatinate have already won this afternoon, 87-61 at home to Oakland's Wolves. They won every single quarter in that one as well. A dominant performance. In Rugby League's Championship, Newcastle Thunder are away to Swinton Lions tomorrow afternoon. That's the first match of their season. And in the ice hockey, a doubleheader for Whitley Warriors away at Blackburn Hawks this evening, and then at home to Solihull Barons tomorrow. The Six Nations has begun. There's about 5 minutes left at the Millennium Stadium, but Ireland are 34-10 up. Wales have been much more in it in the second half than they were in the first, but Ireland look as though they are going to start with victory. It's England-Scotland at 4:45 at Twickenham. But right now here on BBC Radio Newcastle, we go back to the Den. Millwall 0, Sunderland 0 at half-time. Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett back after this.
Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett MBE.
BBC Radio Newcastle.
Welcome back to the Den. Just been chatting around us about the disallowed goal. George Saville interfering with play, basically getting in the way as Fleming took the shot. Honeyman then putting the parried ball from Patterson home. But yeah, Saville's interference basically was the reason the goal was disallowed. Mason Bennett has been carried off. He was carried off with sort of 4 or 5 minutes into half-time after treatment. And as you said, Benno, right away, it looked like a bad injury.
Yeah, it was a bad injury, and 1 or 2 of the Sunderland supporters, as players, were shouting for the referee to halt the game, really. But he's been stretchered off.
So he'll have to be replaced for the second half. Just waiting for the players to appear. Yeah, as we said, the first half, you know, you didn't dare take your eyes off it for a second. Something happened, something went off on the pitch. In terms of chances, not a huge amount at either end. Gelhardt having a couple of half chances as Sunderland emerge for the second half here, and Patterson the last to come out with Ballard, and here come Millwall. Jake Cooper, the captain, leading them out, and we'll have to wait to see what the change is for Millwall. And everyone's standing in front of me here, just trying to see. It's going to be Duncan Watmore will be the replacement for Bennett. So a debut for the new boy. Watmore coming on for the second half for Millwall. Sunderland will get the second half underway. They're attacking the north stand in which the Sunderland fans are housed this afternoon, defending the Cold Blow Lane end of the Den, in which the crowd of 18,524, if you missed it earlier, is the biggest here since 1995, which was just 2 years after the stadium opened. Sunderland in their red and white stripes, Millwall in their very dark navy blue shirts, white shorts, and immediately it's Sunderland on the attack here on the right hand side. Roberts back to Ahmad down the line again on that right hand side, and it's flicked on by Gelhardt, comes back to Roberts, now Ahmad into the penalty area on the right hand side, trying to pull it back, it's blocked, it's gone behind for a corner. And immediately, start of the second half, Sunderland getting on the ball and causing Millwall a few problems. Roberts will take the corner on the right. Sunderland's third corner, first of the second half. And in it comes, swinging in here, a little flick down, it's loose the ball, but it's cleared from the edge of the 6-yard box. Gelhardt was trying to get on the end of it, out for a throw to Sunderland on this near side, the Sunderland left. Elise will take the throw for Sunderland, halfway inside the Millwall half. Looking for someone to try and pick out. Mishu or Clark is now looking for Gelhardt, who flicks it on, but into the chest of McNamara. It breaks loose and is headed clear by Cooper. Elise chases back, and out it goes for another Sunderland throw, but back in their own half, just on the left-hand side again. Elise's stolen a few yards, and Tony Mowbray's having a word in his ear as he waits for the ball. Gary Rowett will return the ball, and Elise will take the throw. I'm sure plenty of Elise's family are here today, coming from East London, even though we're now south of the river. Historically, the Millwall Docks is on the north side of the River Thames. Here's Elise on the left again, another throw, finds Clark, chests it back down to him, a little flick on to Clark, he's trying to get away from Honeyman, out it goes, another throw to Sunderland. Reading 0, Watford 2. 0-0 here in the 48th minute. Comes off Billy Mitchell, back to Saville to clear, onto the chest of Bradshaw, inside now to Fleming, across on the far side to Wallace, looking for another Watmore and Ballard, out comes Patterson, oh, and down goes Watmore, but late, he'd lost control of the ball, Patterson caught him as he came out to clear. No way that was ever a penalty.
Good goalkeeper.
Good.
To be fair, Patterson was slow off his line.
He was a bit slow, but he did react. He did get out.
It come a long way, didn't it?
Now at the other end, it's cleared from the feet of Ahmad up towards Watmore, who's fouled by Ballard. The free kick to Millwall inside the Millwall half on the left-hand side. Nil-nil still. This free kick will be taken by George Long, the Millwall keeper. Long in goal, McNamara, Cresswell, Cooper and Wallace, Mitchell, Saville, Honeyman, Fleming, and now Watmore with Bradshaw up front for Millwall. One change for Sunderland today, Gelhardt in for Stewart. The players they're pushing a high line here, Sunderland. The free kick's taken by the goalkeeper, hangs for a moment before it's headed away by Ballard. Ahmad has got it into the path of Roberts. Roberts over the halfway line. They're chasing back Watmore in front of him, but Roberts still going with Ahmad inside of him, but it's blocked, the attempted pass, and it's broken here for Bradshaw. One back by Roberts. Roberts now turning it out to the right wing, and it's taken on that right side by Dan Neal, who's dribbling into the penalty area and trying to pull it back now on the goal line, and it's headed behind by Cooper. Another Sunderland corner. Down goes Roberts to take it again for Sunderland. We're in the 50th minute. Later on, of course, this afternoon, full commentary of Newcastle West Ham United. 5:30 that kicks off. Roberts placing the ball then for the corner below the big screen in the corner between the two stands, and swings the ball in. Mitchell heads it clear, powerful header out. Up it comes to Dan Neil, who rolls it across to the right to Ahmad, who pushes it on now to Roberts down the right of the penalty area, trying to get in past Mitchell, but he tried a little bit too much, and eventually Ahmad has to try and retrieve the ball and wins a throw. Quickly taken by Hume to Ahmad. Back it comes to Dan Neil to the right of the centre circle. Out to the right again to Hume, looking for the run of Ahmad, but across comes Cooper to clear. Out it goes to Watmore. It's hooked in the air.
That's
There's
a
a
foul.
big push in the back of Neil. Quickly taken free kick to Roberts on the right, cutting into the middle, turning away from Saville. It comes off Wallace, picked up by Hume. Forwards a few yards to Ahmad. Ahmad over on the right touchline, back to Roberts just behind him, and then Ahmad drops back again, and here's Ahmad to play it back out to Roberts and back into Ballard. Ballard forwards to Hume, and now picked up by Neil. He's tackled though, and Watmore will come away with it. Runs straight into Dan Neil. Michu, who blocked him, and a yellow card for Michu. With a predictable response from the Millwall fans. Michu, the first Sunderland player booked. Cooper and Bennett have been booked for Millwall, but Bennett subsequently carried off at half-time. 0-0 then. Free kick, which George Long, the goalkeeper, will take in the 52nd minute. Again, Sunderland trying to push a high line halfway inside their half. Long's kick up towards Cooper, understandably, but headed clear by Bart, but then back down into the penalty area. Honeyman and Elise go for it. Elise gets his head to it, but clashes with Honeyman. Clash of heads. They're both down, and Honeyman's clutching his forehead, rolling over. Elise's bounced up and appears to be okay, but Honeyman came off the worst there, and he's receiving treatment immediately at the edge of the penalty area. Elise's getting treatment. He's just bent over at the edge of the corner of the 6-yard box, but Honeyman's flat out. Clearly caught quite hard by Elise in that clearance. It will be, I think, a corner once play resumes. But both players being looked at, but Elise's okay.
Come on, Sunderland, for God's sake.
It's interesting because presuming Elise will have to come off because he's been looked at by the medic. He's being, the referee I think is pointing to Elise, telling him you'll have to go off before you come back on, or before play resumes. Elise then strolling off here. Honeyman still receiving treatment. The last thing Millwall needs, another player lost in the game.
Yeah.
Still flat out on his back.
And again, we know George Honeyman, like he never really stays down, does he? He only stays down if he really, really is hurt. And it's clash of heads there.
He was clearly caught hard.
Yeah.
At least they're clearing. It went in with some force. I mean, completely accidentally. And sitting up now, George Honeyman. It's just a case of the concussion protocols, I suppose, to make sure that he is actually okay. He'll add a few minutes to the end of the game.
I think the problem they've got here, Nick, as well, was he concussed?
Well, he's on his feet now.
That's the problem they've got. If he was concussed, then he shouldn't continue playing.
Yeah, I don't know quite how you deem a player is concussed or not. I don't know what the measure of it is. He's on the touchline now with Elise, and by the signs of things, he's going to come back on. But the corner, in the meantime, taken by Saville, is headed goalwards and just off the bar by Cresswell, I think. Honeyman and Elise are back on, the pair of them. It's still 0-0. It's a goal kick to Sunderland. Cresswell's header onto the bar, angle of bar and post and behind. 55th minute, Millwall 0, Sunderland 0. Out it goes on the right to Hume, the kick. Back in comes to Dan Neil. He flicks it inside here. Danny Bart out to Elise on the left. Down the line to Jack Clark. Clark in his own half still. He's tackled. And Honeyman's got the ball now for Millwall. Michu fouls him. And Michu has just been booked, of course.
But, you know, Jack Clark has got to look after the ball a lot better than that.
It's not what you think it is. Yeah, it's actually something obvious, but it's not. Don't let your mind play dirty. It's not what you think it is. See if you can see actually what it is. It took me nearly 2 hours to find it.
Right side, halfway inside the Millwall, the Sunderland half. Sunderland line up on the 18-yard
dirty boy.
Line. Saville then with his left curls this in, headed out by Clark. It comes back up to McNamara in the middle, and he will play the ball inside into the middle to Billy Mitchell. Closed down by Robertsy.
Come on, Sunderland, man.
Fleming, who crosses to the back of the area, looking for Watmore. He's running back onto it in the penalty area and tries a shot. It's blocked by Ballard. Comes out to Mitchell, cleared by Elise, up into the centre circle. McNamara on the centre spot. Plays it forwards and inside to Fleming now from Wallace. Fleming's low ball in, cut out before it reaches Bradshaw by Ballard. Oh, and then, well, looked like a strong arm on Ahmad from Fleming right in front of the referee, but nothing from the ref. And then it rolls up off the foot into the Bradshaw's path in the penalty area of Saville, and the offside flag is up. And it's a free kick to Sunderland. And it's interesting because it was one fan down in front of us here leapt up and pointed to the assistant. He can only be a Sunderland fan. Very bravely standing up and revealing his allegiances in this Millwall stand. 0-0. The ball played out wide to Hume. Forwards to Roberts, still inside the
It's going to be
Sunderland
interesting
half.
if we score, Nick.
Oh, well, will be, wouldn't it?
I just want to hear somebody shout, watch the screen, watch the screen, watch the screen.
Watmore, back in the middle.
In a positive way.
Here to McNamara. McNamara being chased by Clark.
So hope we're all alright in the chat, we're still alive.
On Bradshaw. Comes
Not
to
much happening on the match.
Mitchell trying to twist and turn, gets the ball into the path of Clark. Inside to Dan Neil.
Great flip.
To Ahmad. And out here on the left-hand side to Gelhardt. He's wide. Gelhardt looking for the... he tried to find Roberts on the far side, but just didn't have enough power in the cross. And it's Swansea 2.
I want to hear somebody say watch the screen.
Cross was cut out easily. Let's come back to the goalkeeper.
Don't knock it till you try it.
And George Long then in Greenaway to our left with the kick for Millwall. Up through towards
what
Bradshaw.
Chicken lips are, it's actually the gristle of the underside of the beak, fried.
And now McNamara down the right of the penalty area. Inside. Oh, the stop palmed away from Honeyman.
What a save. Great
save from Patterson. Clawed away from George Honeyman.
No, that's disgusting.
To be heading into the top corner.
Great save by Patterson. Somehow stretched. Got his hand to that to tip it round the post.
I tell you what.
Great reaction.
Millwall, it's all chances for Millwall.
In the 59th minute now. And this corner from the right-hand side for Millwall. It's going to be taken by George Honeyman. Honeyman swings it into the back of the 6-yard box. It's dropped into a melee. It's off the post and in.
Oh, fuck off. They've scored. Millwall have scored. Millwall have scored.
And he's hooked it in off the post.
He's hooked it in off the post. And it's nothing but Millwall deserve because we've done fucking nothing.
Yeah, and we said that set plays, that's what they are very, very strong at, and you've seen there.
We've done nothing. We don't deserve anything at the minute.
It weren't a clear header, but somehow he's been able to get his foot to it and hook it, and it's gone into the goal. It's an ugly goal.
It was ugly. It was just a melee of players.
We've been shite, like.
3 or 4 of
we
them
have.
on
We've
the
been
deck.
shite.
Cooper was one of them. But from the floor, he got his right foot to it as it came down to him, and he managed to hook it over Patterson off the angle, the inside, the angle of the bar and post, behind Patterson, and Millwall have the lead. Millwall 1, Sunderland 0. Now Sunderland win a free kick. A foul on Ahmad on the right side of midfield. This halfway inside the Millwall half. So, can Sunderland engineer a swift response? Jake Cooper's 3rd goal of the season, the 6'6" centre half.
Someone's just commented it's been coming on second half. This we need a change.
Here towards the far post for Bar. He couldn't get on the end of it, but there's a corner to Sunderland on this left-hand side. Clark jogging down to take it. Swansea 3, Birmingham 2.
I just hope this isn't the things to come without Stewart, for fuck's sake.
Clark then below the Sunderland fans to our left, and there's a lot of venom being directed towards the Sunderland dugout at the moment. As Clark's cross in, it's headed away by Millwall. Clark will run onto this wide on the left here. Honeyman's in front of him, and now Clark trying to shake him off.
Worst this season we've played, according to some people on social media. It's the worst we've played this season so far to Sunderland fans.
Pritchard's going to come on.
Yeah. Alex Pritchard ready to come
Been on the back foot for the majority of the game. Ewak and Pritchard to come on surely, because we've just got no backbone in the middle of the pitch.
Honeyman,
nothing.
An overhead kick to clear from the corner. It's played out.
I would imagine he'll come off the Geldart, will he?
I wonder. There's a battle at the moment between Elise in the corner and McNamara, but the ball is cleared. Out for a throw.
Play like we did against Middlesbrough, for God's sake. We were absolutely superb.
Clark coming off.
No, Fulham back doesn't really matter. It's the league that's priority. We're still not safe yet. We're still not safe.
Well, it's I don't know quite how you describe the atmosphere in here at the moment. Pritchard on then. Millwall leading 1-0. We're live on BBC Radio Newcastle, where it's lively on BBC Radio Newcastle.
Has Sunderland got a good record at the Den then?
As the ball hooked away, it formerly used to play in these parts, of course, not for Millwall. Here on the left, Pritchard is going to take a free kick for Sunderland. No, he's not. He's going to leave it for Michu. I think it's Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 0, I think, because it's so loud. Yeah. And now across to Ballard on the halfway line, out wide on the right to Ahmad, who swings it back to Danny Bart, and now to Michu. And Michu bringing this in and forwards down the left, inside to Roberts, but he couldn't get back out to Elise. McNamara's on the break here, into the Sunderland half, back inside to Honeyman.
I mean, for fuck me, they're not that special, Millwall, for God's sake. I mean, I don't know why we're making it look so as if it's so hard.
And Michu lunged in, he didn't get the ball, and I've got a fear that Michu could pick up a second yellow. He's had a couple of challenges, and he's already picked up a yellow, and he's been a little bit late. And now a challenge on Roberts by Fleming.
There's a high one,
which was high, and has brought Roberts down, and it's a free kick.
They're not exactly like a Burnley, are they? Millwall. It's like, why are we giving them so much respect? It's like, come on, let's show a bit of grit, man. Get at them.
through Hume to Ahmad.
Let's have a bit of fight.
Back to Roberts. Back behind him to Hume again. Forwards up to Gelhard, inside to Roberts. He's trying to get it out to Elise on this left-hand side. And Elise flicks it back now to Michu. And into the middle to Roberts. And Roberts finds Elise again on the left. He's trying to cut across in front of McNamara, who stabs the ball away. Bradshaw away on this right side, swinging it up through the middle, looking for Fleming's run. Patterson comes out, heads the ball down to Hume over Fleming.
It's 1-1, is it?
And Hume back into the middle to Neal. And Dan Neal trying to bring this forwards. Watmore in front of him. He lays the ball off to Ballard. Ballard out to Ahmad on the far side. Ahmad just inside
Cheers
the Millwall
for subscribing
half.
there, Dave lad. Cheers, thank you. Thank you.
Just plays it back behind him to Dan Neal, and Dan Neal
Sorry about the results so far. It is just
Hull
so.
1, Cardiff 0. And Danny Bart across to Ballard on the far side. Coming up to the halfway line. Millwall leading 1-0. 66th minute. Here's Ahmad. Back out to Hume. Hume leaves it for Ahmad. Inside to Pritchard. Pritchard to Ahmad. Inside again to Roberts. Back out to Pritchard on the far side. And Pritchard down the touchline. Hume back to Roberts. Inside to Ahmad. And then to Roberts again.
Some more comments from social media. Shocking up front today. Clearly missing Stewart already. Zero hold-up player whatsoever. Cooper winning everything at the back for them. If this is the thing, what's going to happen when Stewart's not here, then we could go sinking quicker than the Titanic in this league. Is that an overreaction, do you think?
Mitchell twists and it takes it out, and it's a throw to Sunderland.
This should have been changed at half-time, some people are saying.
Here's the change now, another change. Sirkin's coming on for Elise. So both Pritchard and Sirkin back in it.
So, you know, we was discussing before, if we're chasing the game, we want to change our, shall we say, our direction. We haven't got much options, have we?
I think now fresh legs on this left side, isn't it?
You know, fresh legs on this other side, but,
back
you know, as an out-and-out striker...
Hi, Matthew Griffiths, how are you doing, fella?
He hasn't played much football. How long is he going to last for?
He's not seeing a great deal of the ball, Gelhard, in this second half. Didn't see a huge amount of it in the first half, but he did get a couple of half chances. 1-0 to Millwall, a throw to Sunderland on the far side on halfway. Picked up by Ahmad, blocked as he tried to get it through, and Fleming has it on halfway, lays it off now to George Honeyman. Still on halfway, one back by Sunderland. Roberts limping a little bit in the challenge, and a strong challenge by him on Saville, and a free kick to Millwall.
You need another option up front, Nick. That's what you need. You know, it's all right being nice and pretty on the ball, but sometimes you just got to get it out your feet and put it into the mixer, so-called.
Well, they can't afford to concede a second goal.
Yeah, you know, and that's what Millwall do.
Here we go. He's the fan starting to save as well. Well done, Speakman. Not getting a striker.
He scored the only goal.
This is going to bite you in the arse. They're already saying things like that.
Driven up to the edge of the penalty area, and up goes Cooper, gets on the end of it, but it's come out here for Mitchell to put back in the mix, but cleared again by Hume.
There must have been a reason why they've not wanted to replace Stewart. They must have just had a reason why.
Sunderland half still. Down the line it goes to Roberts, comes back to Dan Neal in the middle of the Sunderland half, across to Danny Bart here. Sirkin's out wide on this left-hand side in front of Tony Mowbray. Skips away from Honeyman, but then shows too much to McNamara, tries to win it back but doesn't. Out to Honeyman now from Saville, and Honeyman gets it up into the Sunderland half, but past Bradshaw, back to Bart, inside to Ballard. Ballard then taking it across field up to the halfway line, and then playing it out to Ahmad on the right wing. Ahmad just inside the Millwall half, plays it back to Ballard on halfway. Ballard plays it out again wide to Ahmad down the touchline, and he's going to try and come past Watmore, is he? Or is he going to try and pass it back here to Hume?
I've not heard any excitement at all from Nick Barnes and Gary Bennett.
Intercepted by Saville.
It's awful.
On the far side by Wallace up to the halfway line. Ballard gets on the end of it in front of Fleming. then finds Pritchard. Pritchard taking it on to Ahmad in the penalty area on the right-hand side, but again, trying too many touches.
But you can see where the Sunderland fans will go though if they start dropping like flies. They'll start pointing fingers at Speakman, saying you should have got an effing striker. This is your discipline.
Sometimes we're trying to.
Oh, I know. This is what they're saying already on social media.
It doesn't happen. Sometimes you just got to get it out your feet and put it in. But we have not got a target in there. We've only got the one option.
It was always going to be difficult here as well if Millwall took the lead, and they've done that. They lead 1-0 in the 70th minute. And a free kick which will be taken by the goalkeeper, George Long. All the players across on the left, Millwall left. Up it goes. Ballard gets on the end of it with Bradshaw. Bounces down between them again. They battle and Ballard wins it again. But then it falls as an offside flag comes up. And while
I just can't see where we're going to get anything from this today. I really didn't.
One change for Newcastle. Alan Saint-Maximin makes his first Premier League start since August. He comes in for the suspended Bruno Guimaraes. New signing.
If anything else, Millwall looks as if they're going to get a second.
Just had to interrupt you there. Sorry, Razor. We've got Sirkin on the left here, back inside to Pritchard at the edge of the penalty area. Full commentary of the Newcastle game at 5:30, but the attacks come to nothing. Mishu back to Danny Bart and back onto the halfway line to Ballard, and out wide to Ahmad again, this time on the right. Back inside to Trey Hume, who's drifted into that middle position. Into Mishu in the centre, through to Roberts, so they overhit it for Pritchard, and McNamara gets it back up into the centre circle for Millwall. Here's Hume on halfway forwards to Roberts, who's Saville whips the ball off him. Wolves 3, Liverpool 0.
Wolves 3, Liverpool 0. Oh my God.
And thinking about sizing up his options, plays it inside to Hume in the middle. And then out to Ballard on the right. Fleming chases up to Pritchard, lets it run through to Gelhardt here. Little back heel, but it didn't have enough power on it. And Millwall with Cresswell trying to get it away. But one back by Gelhardt. Leaves it for Sirkin on this left-hand side. Sirkin plays it back to Bart on the halfway line. He drives it up to Ahmad. It looked like a handball. The referees let play go on. Then an advantage after a foul on Saville. Fleming looking for Bradshaw's run. Wide on the right-hand side here for Millwall.
All I'm hearing still is just Millwall on the attack.
The cross from Bradshaw will land at the feet of Hume, who plays it out through the middle to Roberts. He skips round the challenge of Saville. He's still going, Roberts. He's got Ahmad on his right. He's got the left here. He's got... Roberts is going to try the shot when Gelhardt was free. The defender in front of Roberts blocked his shot. Comes down to Pritchard on this left side, the corner of the penalty area. His attempt to get it in the box is cleared, and now it's come down to Hume. Hume in the penalty area. On his left, tries to cross into the 6-yard box, headed away by Mitchell, and then Watmore gets a touch. It drops to Ahmad. Ahmad down the right. It's put back in here and saved by Long from Trey Hume. Back out to Ballard. Ballard to Ahmad. Ahmad on the right, Watmore in front of him, inside to Roberts. Saville on his shoulder.
Roberts
now trying to get in on the right side of the penalty. Leaves it for Ahmad at the corner of the penalty area. Ahmad inside to Roberts again. Back out to Hume. Hume crosses. It's headed away by Cresswell from Gelhardt. Only as far as Hume. Back out on the wing again. It's swung back in again. Across the face of Gelhardt. And behind for a goal kick. A flurry of activity. Long is hurt, he's on his knee. I think everyone would be grateful for a breather, actually. George Long, back up on his feet.
And, you know, we talk about that striker, you know what I mean? And we talk about Gelhardt, can he fill that role? But he's not an out-and-out striker.
See, I suspect that cross there, Stewart would have got the
exactly.
End of it.
So you need somebody who's an out-and-out striker who might have gambled and gotten the end of that.
George Long receiving some treatment.
And it's not Gelhardt, and again, it's not Gelhardt's fault.
No.
You know, he's mostly a 10 or a wide player. They're asking him to play in a role which he's not used to playing in, really. But we've got to solve that problem.
Well, sets the players across on the touchline while George Long receives some treatment.
It's definitely 3-0 Wolves, Dalvlar. It's definitely 3-0 Wolves.
Stabbing his eye. He must have got a knock in the face, I think, from what I can make out of it on the big screen over in the corner on the far side. Manchester United are down to 10 men, but they lead Crystal Palace. Casemiro's sent off for violent conduct.
Don't try and build your hopes up. It is 3-0.
Here at the Den, where Millwall lead by a goal to nil in the 75th minute, and the goalkeeper's okay now, and he will have a goal kick. Just placing the ball towards the left-hand side of his 6-yard box. 15 minutes to play. Millwall leading through Jake Cooper's 59th minute goal. Scrappy goal, but goals are goals.
Goals are goals, but how many scrappy goals have Millwall scored this season like that?
Sunderland give for a scrappy goal. Here is Hume again, through to Roberts, back to Dan Neil, lifting it up over the top, but it'll go straight to the goalkeeper.
No.
Who lets it roll into the penalty area, then just at his feet, picks it up as in comes Gelhardt. And
thing is, are we going to see Jefferson Bennett, you know,
a little bit of pace
for the last 10 minutes, give him a goal?
As the ball hooked high up to the other end and headed down by Honeyman and cleared for...
He's off to Preston.
Well, down by Bradshaw and cleared for a throw to Millwall on the far side. Wallace eventually coming down to take it. But factor in, of course, now Millwall are holding a 1-0 lead. They're going to just slow things down. They're going to
deal with
life difficult, aren't they?
They've got to deal with this long throw.
Another long throw, yeah. Fleming's left to take the throw. Manchester United 2, Crystal Palace 1. So Fleming then with another long throw from the left for...
Oh, stop pulling his
Millwall.
shirt.
Oh, someone's gone down in the box. It's McNamara. It's come back in again. He's screaming at the referee.
Trey Hume is a lucky man, by the way. They nearly exchanged shirts there.
Well, the assistant didn't flag, and McNamara's the only one who complained in the end. Goal kick to Sunderland now. Patterson all in yellow away to our right, placing the ball between the two.
See, this is what teams will do now. They press
12 shots to 2, none from Gelhardt so far.
Towards Gelhardt, short of the halfway line. It comes back to Bradshaw for Millwall, and he lays it off to McNamara, and inside, well, back behind to Mitchell, and back again then to Cresswell in the Millwall half. Out to Mitchell on the right. Drives it down the right wing over the top of Honeyman, but
invisible.
Bradshaw's come across, Sirkin forced to put it out.
Invisible.
Throw to Millwall on the right-hand side. And down comes Fleming for another long throw for Millwall, who lead 1-0 in the 78th minute. So the Dutchman.
We had 31 days to buy a target man, somebody's just said on the chat thingy on the...
It's headed clear by Ballard and then out by Ahmad, but it's going to drop here on the right-hand side for Fleming again. And Fleming curls it in with his left foot towards the far post, and Patterson claims it. Everybody hurtles upfield. Patterson rolls it out now to Trey Hume. He's on the left of central midfield here, Hume. And just behind the centre circle. To his right, to Dan Neil.
I think the games are right enough, to be honest with you. I just can't see us getting out of the first gear, to be honest with you.
Left to Ahmad on the halfway line on the right, comes back to Danny Bart.
It's like we're stuck.
Mishu or Neil, either side of him.
It's like if we've got a cart, it's like
Hume, it's given away. Watmore's away here. Bart's chasing him down. He's squared it to Bradshaw. He's in the box. But a great tackle by Dan Neil. Bradshaw's got the ball.
We'll take the car back to garage because it's stuck in first gear. We can't get any faster.
Honeyman tries to put it back in. It's blocked and it's going to drop here on the left. And it's out, is it? No. For a throw.
Yes, it is. Excellent tackle there by Dan Neil. Great recovery.
It's a free kick to Sunderland.
But again, sometimes you can get caught overplaying. It's great when it comes off. It's great when it comes off.
Reading 2, Watford 2. 1-0 to Millwall here. Dan Neil in the centre. Across to Sirkin. It's now Aston Villa 2, Leicester City 4. Forwards to Mishu. Back it goes to Danny Barr into the
Aston
middle.
Villa 2, Leicester
Dan
4.
Neil. Across to Dan Ballard, wide on the right into the Millwall half. Down the line to Ahmad. Ahmad trying to cut back in, has to put it
it's
back.
It's shite, man.
Neil.
George Pettit
right
says, never give up,
circle.
come on, Sunderland
Gets
fans. Just get behind your team.
Now Mishu out to Sirkin. Sirkin inside to Mishu. Gets a shove from Saville, but he's still got it. And then out to Roberts. Through the legs of Honeyman. Roberts still going. Goes round Saville and then tripped by the... Oh, he's been booked. Has he already? No, he hasn't. He's going to get booked now. Saville booked. Shows his frustration.
Tell you what, the Gary Bennett psychometer has gone through the roof today, like.
Free kick halfway inside the...
Yeah, he's going to freshen things up, Tony Mowbray.
Freshen things up? Okay, Nels Bells, get the cesspit out.
Equa,
maybe coming on for Mishu.
Yeah.
He's looked a little bit tired now, Mishu, hasn't he?
A bit leggy, he's been booked as well. Pritchard will take the free kick left of central midfield.
His first name's not Jimmy, is it?
Into the last 10 minutes of the game.
His first name's not Jimmy.
Pritchard then. It's swung in and going off the post. No, they're looking for there's a head injury. They've equalised, but immediately the medics called on because someone.
We've scored. We've scored.
Who's down? I'm not sure if it is. It's 1-1. Ahmad is trying to whip up the
I think it's going to get
fans.
chalked off though.
But in the meantime, treatment for the player down on the 6-yard line. They're waving their hand. They won from the stretcher. They're waving their arms. The players. It's not Ballard. He's up waving at the bench.
Must be clash of heads. Must be Ballard, is it?
No, Ballard's on his feet there. Look.
Unless it's Sirkin.
They've come rushing down to the touchline here.
Look, they're all running. They're going to have a word to the linesman. This could be getting chalked off. This.
On the end of
Sirkin and him.
I think you're right. I think it's Sirkin. Who headed it home, but at the same time has crashed heads with someone and is down flat out on the 6-yard line.
Tell you what, that was a brave header.
Very brave header.
He's attacked it. Great ball in by Pritchard.
It all went off at once. The goal rolling in off the ball, rolling in off the post, and immediately, you know, I think a number of the players didn't even watch to see if the ball had gone over the line. They turned around immediately to wave at the dugout to call for assistance. And Dennis Sirkin now receiving treatment.
Oh, Harrogate's winning Carlisle. Boys not be happy.
Which is worrying. At the same time, after that, Ahmad and a few others were whipping up the Sunderland fans. Now the double change being made by Millwall.
Anderson's going to come on,
and for fuck's sake, why Sirkin has been so unlucky this season.
So I would imagine he'll come on.
Rainey says, why are you so negative? It's just the type of game it's been. We've done we've done sod all, Rainey. Absolutely nothing.
Millwall's Bradshaw and Honeyman.
Oliver Burke.
Yeah, Burke's coming on. And I think also coming on is Vogel Sammer. Yeah, he's up. He's sitting up. So the double swap by Millwall in the 84th minute. Dennis Sirkin sitting up. So I'm praised he's okay.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. It's Carlisle nil, Harrogate 1, and Sirkin being helped to his feet. And the changes being made here now. Sirkin coming off and Anderson taking his place. Then Mishu coming off to be replaced by Equa. It's 1-1, and Sirkin walking very slowly off between the two medics. Pete Brown just ahead of him now. And I thought they were going to bring on Barr as well, but I don't think they have they? I think they've only brought the 2 players on.
Oh, well, folks in the chat, welcome to the world of football.
Millwall 1, Sunderland 1. Dennis Sirkin, who scored the equaliser, being substituted. And he's getting a pat on the back from Tony Mowbray. The game resumes. The kick-off from the goal. After that stoppage, we're going to get quite a bit of time added on, of course, now. And here is Ballard to bring the ball out.
He's just come back as well, Dennis. He's just got back onto the bench.
I know. I mean, I'm hoping he's absolutely fine. I mean, it was a clash of heads, wasn't it? He went in it, as you said, bravely.
That's knocked him.
Came off the worst.
6 in it.
And he thrown himself at it. But he appears to be okay, physically okay. It's just a protocol thing, I think. 1-1 then in the 86th
Why don't Sunderland
minute,
go for the kill here? Why don't they go for it? Go.
By Sunderland, as up goes Danny Barr, heads it through to Pritchard. Loose though, it comes off him.
Absolutely.
To Cooper, out to McNamara on the right-hand side, and down to Burke on the right side.
No, it's not being chalked off, Ross. It's 1-1.
Area. Equa gives chase back to Mitchell. Roberts on his shoulder. Out
Come
to
on,
McNamara
Carlisle, get an equaliser
right,
for God's sake.
Trying to get the ball inside. Comes back out to him from Burke, then back towards the halfway line. Cresswell coming forwards for Millwall. Gelhardt chasing him down to Watmore on the right, on the goal line. Pulls it back for Burke. Blocked though by Dan Neal. It's a corner to Millwall. So, 1-1. Corner on the right-hand side from Millwall in the last few minutes of the game. Swept in, and it's caught by Patterson. Very good take from Patterson. Gets it out quickly now on the left-hand side here. Ahmad into the Millwall half. Striding up through on the far side is Dan Neal, but Millwall win it back. And out here on the right, McNamara again. In the nearly the 88th minute. Down the right wing, Burke, beaten to it by Anderson. Puts the ball out. Throw to Millwall, halfway inside the Sunderland half. We're in the 88th minute. 1-1 at the Den. It was 1-1 the last time they played here, nearly 6 years ago. Here's Saville on the right, back out to McNamara. Back to Saville. In on him was Gelhardt, but it's come through into the centre now to Vogelsammer. Back to Mitchell, and Mitchell's just in front of the centre circle. To cut out his pass by Ahmad. Dan Neal on it now. Dan Neal trying to get round Mitchell. He's got round him, pokes it past Vogelsammer to Pritchard.
I reckon it'll be about 7 minutes injury time, do you reckon?
And Wallace plays it back out to Mitchell, who plays it back to Wallace, and out on the left wing. It's played back again to Cooper. He plays it up to the halfway line, smashed away by Anderson. Up it comes now to Gelhardt, who managed to get it into the path of Equa. Across to Roberts here on this left-hand side. Into the 89th minute. Roberts now trying to dribble down the left of the penalty area. McNamara pushes him, but no foul, says the referee. Roberts straight back up on his feet. The ball goes out for a Sunderland throw. Anderson's going to take this down this left-hand side. Joe Anderson picks the ball up. He's got Roberts, Pritchard, behind him is Equa, and the referee's urging him to get on with it. They're waiting to make this change, I think. Barr is waiting to come on now for Sunderland. It'll be their last change. They're just trying to get this
everywhere
sorted.
We go. Sunderland take over.
Gelhardt's coming off and Barr coming on. So Joe Gelhardt.
Well, it's a shame Gelhardt's just been non-existent, isn't it?
and Barr on for Sunderland. Anderson then poised to take this throw.
No, absolutely not. It's just been a shame that he's just not. He's had no service of anything.
For Equa down the left of the penalty, his touch let him down, and it's hooked away by Cresswell.
And there'll be a minimum of 45 minutes added time. Minimum of 45 minutes added time.
Of the game. But it'll be interesting to see how much time Thomas Bramall adds on. There's been quite a bit of stoppage time in this second half. Here's Roberts, corner of the penalty area, flicks it in, trying to get the ball through to Ahmad, just outside the area now on the left, and looks for Anderson, but it's a poor pass, and it'll be McNamara who holds off
Gary
Anderson.
Bennett, please
lets it roll out for a Millwall throw. Right down in the corner. Being told to go back down into the corner. He's stolen a few yards, Danny McNamara. Millwall 1, Sunderland 1, 6 minutes of added time.
And there'll be a minimum of 6 minutes added time. 6
forwards here on the right-hand side. Burke, who is obviously Bradshaw's replacement, tries to cross, blocked by Bart, throw to Millwall down the right. And here on the left is Roberts trying to play the ball out. And off Burke, it goes for a goal kick. Just over 5 minutes left. 1-1 at the Den. Patterson just rolling the ball with his feet to the edge of the 6-yard box, taking his time about placing the ball and taking the goal kick. I think Sunderland will certainly be satisfied with a point, wouldn't they?
Well, we said that on the way down, Nick. I would take a point.
So Patterson drives this away to the left, over the halfway line, up goes Cresswell, and it'll drop to Ballard to nod down to Equa, and he lays it off. Anderson stretches and takes it out for a throw to Millwall, and McNamara comes forwards to take this in front of Gary Rowett, and down the line comes down to Vogelsammer, the German signed in the summer from Union Berlin. It's gone out though for a throw off him to Sunderland.
Can't believe Carlisle's going to get beat off third off bottom Harrogate. Carlisle a third off top.
Birmingham 3. Headed on by Hume on the far side to Ahmad, trying to get it to Dan Neal, but cut out by, sorry, to Barr. It was cut out, and now one back, and Saville trying to help it out to McNamara, who gives it back to Saville on this right-hand side.
Would take 1-1, but keep going. They just need a good chance.
The frustration of the Millwall fans around us, and up it's played, looking for Ahmad, but Cresswell gets in front of him and brings it out to the right wing. Inside then to Mitchell, and Mitchell plays it across the face of Barr, and it's smashed forwards by Fleming, and it'll be taken by Patterson. Catches it just out near the edge of his area and rolls it down to Dan Ballard. 1-1 in added time as Ballard brings it further down the right.
Would you be happy with the point, lads?
Put out for another throw to Sunderland on the far side into Ahmad, and Barr inside. It's gone out for a throw this time to Millwall with just over 3 minutes left. Millwall 1, Sunderland 1. This throw halfway inside the Millwall half on their left at the foot of the Dockers stand, and into Saville, back forwards down the left wing, and another throw.
You look at the battling qualities, Nick, and you've got to say Ballard and Bart in the heart of defence have been absolutely magnificent.
So here it's pushed on, but into the path of Watmore, and inside Millwall trying to battle with Fleming, trying to get it forwards, and then it's headed away. It's cleared by Anderson, comes back though down this right-hand side. Vogelsammer puts it across the face of the 6-yard box. Watmore on the far side trying to dribble in here now. It's stabbed away though by Hume. Back it comes in again here, and somehow cleared again by Sunderland, and they are now looking to break themselves here up towards the halfway line. It's left for Ahmad, chasing ahead of him is Barr. Ahmad's cut inside in the middle, lays it off now to Equa. Ekwa to Pritchard on the left of central midfield, then down the left-hand side to Roberts of the penalty area. Back to Pritchard. Pritchard shoots and it curls.
I thought he's going to curl it.
Gary Bennett's just said there's a chance going back in there.
Just leant back a little bit.
Anybody who's new from the chat, if you hear that word, if you hear that noise going, it's Gary. I mean, Sunderland have missed a chance.
I think we've got about a minute and a half left to play.
Away from home, 1-0 down to get a point. It'd be like a win. Would you be happy with a point, lads?
Jake Cooper, his goal in the 59th minute, cancelled out by Dennis Sirkin in the 82nd minute, but he got hurt in so doing and has been replaced again. Here's Fleming in the middle of the Sunderland half. It's cut out by Anderson, and then here played back to the goalkeeper. Long by Cresswell, who Long plays it back out to Cresswell on the right hand side, up over the halfway line, on the chest of Burke, comes back into the Millwall half. Free kick to Sunderland, who's caught there. Anderson just crouched over the player down. I think it might be Bart.
I'll tell you what,
who's down.
One thing what the Sunderland players would have learnt today, they would have learnt about the knocks and bruises.
Oh, yeah, they will have done, won't they?
But I tell you what, it's a good learning process for them as well. You know, they're coming through this.
Yeah.
It's not an easy place to come to.
Bart helped up to his feet.
It's been an experience for one or two of the young lads as well.
It's been a cauldron, hasn't it? It's been, well, it hasn't been dull, has it? We you know, we said before, you can't take your eyes off this game because something happens. And
the thing is, get a goal in, mate. Come on, Millwall are tough bastards.
But you've got to be here. You've got to be in it, playing in it, to actually witness the atmosphere and know what it's like.
Well, they don't lose many here. They've only lost 2 at home this season. Looks like it's going to end.
Well done, Gateshead, getting a 2-0 lead. 2-0 win today.
Again on the attack. It's headed out by Ballard. Then Ekwa gets it out again. Saville trying to get it down the right to Vogelsammer.
Fergie time, says
right
Ross Craig.
Plays it back here now to Cresswell. He drives it up to the edge of the Sunderland penalty area again. Burke heads it in down the right, but Pugh will cut across, and that's it. It's finished 1-1, and Sunderland
1-1, it's finished. I'm pleased with that. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, indeed.
I'll take that.
We learned another side of Sunderland this afternoon, Nick. The battling, the qualities of that, and that's what you've got to do. And again,
it's been a learning experience, says Ross. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in today on the chat.
Very well from set pieces, but it's going to be like that, shall we say, from now on till the end of the season. You know, we've got to rely on the likes of Bart. You've got to rely on Ballard as well to win them aerial challenges, battles. But I think we've done well. At times when we did get the ball down, we were calm, we played, but sometimes we overplayed.
Yeah, sometimes that old accusation of being over-elaborate, I guess those are habits that are hard to break sometimes.
It is indeed, but they're a young team, Nick, and you know, we talk about, you know, 1 or 2 of the players have never been in this, shall we say, atmosphere. You know, it's new to him. You know, you're looking at 1 or 2 of these. Obviously, you got Ahmed as well, who it might be a little bit too new to him. You know, but again, it's a good learning process because
that's a bad result for Carl like that.
Yeah,
my
big test for Sunderland. Of course, they've got to go again now on Wednesday night against Fulham, which will be a test of all together a different kind.
And again, you've got to give a special mention for Dennis Sirkin as well. You know, to come through that, to get his head on that ball, to get that equaliser, the determination was there.
At a cost to him, of course, but hopefully he is okay. George Honeyman, a goal ruled out in the first half. George Saville's interference. Jake Cooper gave Millwall the lead in the 59th minute, a scrappy goal. He was on the deck, he got his foot to it and it curled up over Patterson and came off the post. It's the referee who's being booed off at the moment down below us. Then 82nd minute, substitute Dennis Sirkin bravely got his head on the end of a ball and equalised off the inside of the post.
Cheers for tuning in, thank you everybody. We will don't forget, we'll catch you on Friday for our
run their legs off this afternoon.